Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你好中国，我叫希娜，我爱更尊重中。石油上。
Alton, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us. Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, God!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I'll help you. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is homophobic. And you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, guys, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin. I am the Movie Monster, and I'm excited to be back with you guys once again for another fun-filled, action-packed week of pop culture discussion. But as always, I can't do it by myself. I need the bridge crew of the Tooney Town starship here. So, got to start with the first officer right away, the Riker to my Picard, and here he is. Folks, he is Mr. Kevin Apollo. How are you, my friend?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. You are fresh off of your appearance on the pro show last night when we did the Agatha after party. Did a fantastic job there. Thank you. That was fun. That was like a little Tooney Town takeover. We were we were together on a different platform. It was very interesting. I liked it a lot. It sucks that we had to watch Agatha to make it happen, but
things we sacrifice for.
This is true. You know what? Speaking of sacrifices, we have to bring out. I don't know how I was going to make that a thing. I don't know, folks. We have to bring out our third regular co-host here. She's not a sacrifice. In fact, she's the gift that keeps on giving. She is the one. She is the only. She is the only. She is Trish.
Hello. I think the thing is going to become you not knowing what the thing should be. So every time I'm introduced, it's like
I never know. Like, it's never been planned beforehand. It's always off. It's always off the cuff.
It's going to be the legacy of it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But guys, we have so many more people to bring onto the panel right now. We got a stacked panel tonight, and of course, coming to us from the worlds of his own channel, the Nolan Thunder channel, where he talks about lost media and video game stories, as well as That Game Place and the Lost Guys. He is the one and only Mr. Nolan Thunder.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Hello.
Nolan, you are you've been pretty busy the last couple days. You've been trying to finagle an Epic Universe situation going on. You've been so much going on with you.
Yeah, it's been insane, and my sleep schedule reflects this, and I keep waking up, and I don't feel like I gotten any sleep, but you know what? It means I'm going to Epic Universe Day 1 here soon. It was worth it. It was worth it.
I'm
there was
very
a lot
excited for that for you.
blood, sweat, and tears that went into it, and I might be seeing a therapist tomorrow. But besides that, I'm excited.
Well, someone who's not a therapist, but is somebody who always makes me feel better with his presence, guys. From the world of That Park Place, from the Lost Guys, the one and only Mr. Martin Stone.
Hey, happy to be here. I'm listening.
Yes. Thank
Trish
you.
liked that one. That's Trish's favorite show, right?
That's
a great show.
One of them.
And we're not done yet, guys. We've still got one more person to add on to the panel.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's me!
It's Spencer!
An actual Asian for the Pokemon! Yeah, we did it!
Somewhere Simu is grabbing his chest really hard right now.
Wouldn't it have been worse if I had made it somebody else?
No. As long as it wasn't like Simu Liu, I think I would have been fine. But Kevin, to your point, actually, when Simu and I think about each other, it's like Harry Potter. Our eyes, they start like squinting really hard and hurting. Ooh,
Your scar burns.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
no.
Our eyes squint. The Asian comes out. And we go, "Ooh, he think of me."
By the way, I do have a bit of a follow-up on the Simu Liu topic tonight. I'm very excited. By the way, guys, if you haven't seen it, Spencer and I put out a 40-minute plus video of the two of us just ripping
so much fun.
Liu
I
to
watched
shreds.
it. I couldn't wait.
I
was
watched
so
it in the aftermath because I didn't realize how long we had gone, because before we recorded, you and I were like hanging out talking, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we should probably do this." So when I saw you upload it and it was 5 minutes long, I was like, "There's no way!" And I watched it and I was laughing the entire time. Just we had so much fun doing that one.
Oh wait, guys, we're not done yet.
Nani?
Woo!
I don't know if I'm a foe. That seems a little harsh.
Would you have rather I done this, Lauren?
Who's that Pokemon?
You've got one of the two options, my friend.
I'll take foe. I'm good.
Lauren is my favorite unlockable character.
Oh my goodness. Lord Connor, also fresh off of Pro's Agatha After Party last night. We had a fun time.
What are
there.
you guys even talking about anymore over there, man?
How
Like
bad it's gotten. Just like,
there's nothing happening.
Last episode, we'll talk about. We might as well just dive in right there if you guys have caught up on it. The show last night, it was, some people are saying it was the best episode of the series thus far. It was probably the worst.
Is the one from last night? Is it the one where they go into Wiccan's backstory?
No, that was last week.
That was last week's. Gotcha.
That was the one that made Lauren long for commercials featuring bears wiping themselves.
Hey, those Charmin dudes are my boys. What are you talking about?
Oh my goodness, I love that.
I got to tell you, it's like last night's was not the worst. It was not good, but the week before is some of the most horrendous stuff I think I've ever watched. It was so offensively bad. That show, that episode hurt me because there's no excuse for this. It's like, look, if you don't have a story to tell, or if you have a short story to tell, keep it to 3 or 4 episodes. There's no reason to do 8 of these things and just draw this pain out. It's like Kitty. I can't think of her character's name in the show, but Kitty. She was in it for what? An episode and a half? Why? Why did she need to be there?
Because you saw WandaVision, Lauren. You remember her. That's literally what it is.
Remember berries. Remember Chewbacca.
Oh, I remember. Oh my god! I gotta get that. I gotta get that as a clip. But
I'm sad that your viewers probably didn't catch it because they probably weren't looking at my face in our video. But when you did the Simu voice for the first time, when you were quoting him, you know this because we were laughing, but I had a serious moment of like, what is happening? Where is this quote from? I've never heard him say that this is perfect. And
I didn't even realize that I was doing that
crap.
accurate of an impression. Sometimes when it comes to impressions, people ask me about that all the time about like doing voices. I said, you don't even have to get the voice down. You just have to get the inflection down. And once you have the inflection,
the cadence,
the cadence, it fills in any shortcomings that you might have with the actual.
But you
with
hit
the
his
actual
pretentious Valley Girl like cadence so well that I was like, "Is it him? Am I here? Am I on the set of Shang-Chi too?" It's like I don't want
that movie doesn't
of this
exist.
moment. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
It was so yeah, Agatha last night, it had an interesting concept in a character that is experiencing time kind of in flux. But it's something that we've seen done many times before and done infinitely better. Most notably, we've seen it done in The Watchmen with Dr. Manhattan.
Or the last episode of TNG.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like the Watchmen HBO show?
No, I'm talking about
okay, good, because I don't know anything about that garbage.
no, because like Dr. Manhattan experiences time like he doesn't experience linear time. I think he experiences everything at the same moment.
That's sort of what he can like go wherever. It's sort of all laid out at once for him.
Yeah,
or like a comic book, like we can jump. Boop, boop, boop,
yeah, whereas Patty LuPone is like jumping back and forth between things. But now, when it comes to Agatha, we do have to look at what's going on ratings-wise, guys, because it is very interesting. This article over here from That Park Place saying Nielsen data reveals that Marvel Studios' Agatha All Along premiere performed worse than The Acolyte.
But I heard it was a hit.
Beautiful.
Right. It's supposed to be the biggest hit ever, right?
Yeah, I'm actually genuinely surprised because at least from most people, even people in our sphere, I was hearing like, yeah, it's not great, but people are tuning in for some reason. So I didn't expect it to be that bad.
Well, here's the Nielsen top 10 original streaming data for the week. That number does not look good, especially if you compare it to Lucasfilm's recently concluded The Acolyte series, which was canceled after its first season due to low ratings. Nielsen reported that The Acolyte 2-episode premiere attracted 488 million minutes watched. So that you see that right here, it was number 7. Now up here, Agatha All Along 2-episode premiere, 426. It performed worse. And The Acolyte was a major bomb. So not only did the show perform worse than The Acolyte, but as noted by ex-user Now It's Known, the show also performed worse than fellow Marvel Studios production Secret Invasion, which attracted 461 million minutes in its debut episode. And Secret Invasion is like the worst thing Marvel's ever done.
Well, you know what this tells me? At this point, it's not about the show itself. It's about Marvel. Like, people are just done. I think whatever they put out, it's just going to be met with apathy.
Well, the problem is,
the same thing happened with... Go ahead, Lauren.
This is Mino. It's Marvel in name only. There's really
Mino.
There's nothing to this that goes back to what Marvel was when they hit Endgame. You know, they were starting to cross the line when they were getting to the end of Phase 3, but it still had the quality and the attachment to the characters and the action and everything that you wanted to see. People were crying in that theater for Endgame and standing up in their seats and cheering when Cap picked up Thor's hammer. You know, it's like that's when they still kind of got it. And everything since then has been just trading on the name, but not having anything to do with what made anything tick.
Well, it is what Kevin... Go ahead, Nolan.
Well, I was just going to say, you know how much apathy Marvel has, like their movies have as a brand right now is there's literally a Venom movie coming out tomorrow, and we haven't even mentioned it once.
No, not at all.
Dude, I
keep forgetting that it's out.
Me too. I was at a wedding over the weekend, and so I was at a hotel, and I finally had like cable TV, so I was like flipping, and there was a ad for Venom, and I was like, oh neat, and I watched it, and then it was like ticket in theaters Thursday, and I was like, Thursday? What the hell? Like, I feel like it's like 2 months off. So yeah, I'm also hearing it's not great.
It's in like the 30% right now on Rotten Tomatoes,
which is a little unfortunate, but yeah.
I mean, look, I thought
not unexpected.
I didn't like the first 2 Venoms, so
I didn't like the first 2 Venoms, but I sort of like from that first trailer, I thought that the idea of them embracing the more alien nature of the symbiote, like with it transferring to different creatures and being like partial and stuff, I thought that was going to be fun, but it looks like that is pretty much all there is to it. Is that trailer footage.
I'll definitely be... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go on, Nolan.
Okay, I'll say I'll definitely be seeing it over the weekend if I can. But I will say there is a lot of salt in my wound right now because as someone who actually really liked the first one and is a big fan of Venom as a character, that second movie, I think it's one of the few superhero films I've ever seen where I left the theater and I legitimately felt depressed afterwards. Like, it left me feeling so empty. I was contemplating life. I was like, what the heck is this movie? And I was so disappointed, like my inner child, because I have wanted to see Carnage on this big silver screen for years. And it was just such a nothing burger. It was
you never imagined that when you finally got Carnage, his entire everything about him would be influenced by the fact that he's infatuated with a stunning and brave woman.
That, and also I kind of wanted Carnage to actually look like he was something that was going to, attack me, and not just look like a big CGI slob that looked like he came off the set of a Transformers movie. Oh, did I say that?
No, it's also like, I always thought Woody Harrelson was a bad choice for Cletus. That felt lazy to me. Like, who do we get for a sort of crazy guy? Let's get Woody Harrelson. We all saw Zombieland, right? He can be a little unhinged. And it's like, no, you should have gotten like I know this is such an easy comparison, but Jackie Earl Haley, like his performance from Watchmen and Rorschach, that's what you want, not weirdo goof. I don't know. That completely set me off of that Carnage.
It was lazy because they were. It was like, what if we made Woody from Cheers evil? Because Cletus is supposed to be a hick. But it's like, yeah, no, you're right. Listen, I love the first movie. I know that's heresy in some parts, but I just, for what it was, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I can be there with you for what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. The second movie, I'm like, all right, we kind of went backwards a little bit where the characters ended, but they did some funny stuff. Like when when they kind of break up and the symbiotes going through town and going through parties, and like I kind of enjoyed, like, we gave the symbiote a personality other than like, because really the only thing we know from the comics is that she loves Peter. That's about it. And then when Carnage presents himself and the symbiote runs away and goes, oh, that's a red one.
I like that. I do like that scene, the church one, right? Where it's like, buddy, I need you. No, not coming out. Like, come on, we gotta do this. No. Like, I do like that. I know it's not the Venom I like, but I do like that scene.
Yeah.
There's Lauren, what were you about to say, Lauren? You were about to say something about what if, and
you were talking about Woody Harrelson and Zombieland, but what if you got Woody Harrelson Natural Born Killers?
Yes.
I still think that's better. I think that's better on track, but I think it's just Woody himself. Like, okay, I think one of the big things, Lauren, is that, at least in my mind, when I think of Cletus, I think of like the scrawniest, most pathetic guy who is a genuine psychopath who will slice you up at any minute. When I see Woody, he seems a little too, like, somebody said it a second ago, like redneck big, where like he can handle, you look at him, you probably wouldn't want to start anything anyway, because you know that he's probably going to be like off his rocker, right? Like, he's like Crocodile Dundee as opposed to Rorschach.
That's not a knife.
That's not a knife. This is a Simba knife.
Jackie Earle Haley was actually my pick for Wolverine after I saw Watchmen. I was like, give me a short, ugly Wolverine. Like a gritty, short, ugly Wolverine like him, and I thought it would be great. But his career kind of sputtered out after Nightmare on Elm Street.
I was going to say, after Nightmare on Elm Street. And
I feel bad about that.
He
didn't do bad.
No, he wasn't a bad Freddy. It's just, the problem is,
there's only one Freddy.
Like, that's it.
Nobody wants
this.
Another
Isn't
Freddy.
Jason, where like it's not Jason, it's not Michael, where you can plug and play. Like, Freddy is very much so Robert Englund, and
Freddy is more in the Chucky vein.
Yeah.
Like when they made that Child's Play movie and they made Mark Hamill as great of a voice actor as he is.
Right, exactly.
And I know it's Buddy and it's not Chucky, but I mean, it's Chucky. And it's just like, only Brad Dourif can do that voice. Only Brad Dourif is going to be Chucky. So it's like, yeah, he falls in that vein, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Speaking of Robert Englund, I got a question for you, Nolan, because this might be up your alley. Did you ever hear of a TV show? It was very short-lived, but it was called Nightmare Cafe. Do you know that?
Apparently,
I know it.
Really? Okay. See, I this was almost a Twilight Zone-esque kind of a show in a way. It was this nightmare, or this little cafe that, if I remember right, Robert Englund ran. And there were these other characters that in the course of the pilot, if I remember right, they both ended up dying. And they became spirits who kind of worked at this cafe. And people who needed to find it did. And so you had sort of a cross between, say, a Twilight Zone and a Fantasy Island kind of a thing, in a way. It didn't last for very long, but it was really good. Also, one of the guys that played one of the spirits, you remember Heroes, the show?
Yes,
of course.
The horn rim glasses guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, him.
Oh, the dad at the agency. Yeah.
HRG.
Superhero
Noah.
falling down. That's what I remember him as.
Lauren, I think you found a new episode of The Lost Guys. I am all over this right now. I want to see this.
It was a good show. Look it up. Nightmare Cafe.
Boy, Nightmare Cafe.
You know-
I think I know. Thank you, Lauren.
That sounds really crazy. People haven't heard of it, but it's really making me think, as interesting, it's clever in its own little weird way. And we're like missing that today. Like, where's the person who's going to think up a cafe where people died and there's spirits, and like if you need the cafe, like you find it. You know
South
what
Korea.
I mean? Yeah.
I want to
Japan,
have like a
Asia.
demented Cheers intro or something.
Well,
Making
we have a
away
lot of
with
we
the
have a
dead
lot of
today.
we have a lot of people out there who think they're creating cinematic art, like the people who write Agatha All Along. How about that for a segue back on topic? So it's notable that Secret Invasion defeated Agatha All Along in its premiere when it had just 53 minutes of total runtime compared to Agatha's 80 minutes for 2 episodes. So that's definitely something to be noted. Now it also point out that the show appears to perform slightly better than Ms. Marvel. That show only received 249 million minutes viewed with its debut episode. If you do a simple runtime calculation by dividing the total minutes watched by the runtime, Ms. Marvel had 5.2 million views, while Agatha All Along is just slightly more with 5.3 million views. So it's not the worst, but it's far from the best, guys. And
Good for them.
With the way that people in this show talk about like the source material and stuff like that, it's no wonder that it's as bad as it is. Because take a look at this article right here that I'm about to share. This one from our friend Spencer Baculi. Agatha All Along showrunner says that she changed Billy Maxwell's origin because she had, quote, no patience for his original comic book story.
I am so done with Jack Schaefer. I don't know why they keep giving this woman work over there. I seriously don't get it.
They took Vision away from her. She's cheap and she'll do it.
Thank goodness they took Vision away from her. Honestly,
my theory on this, guys, is that like they're having a hard time actually finding showrunners and directors that actually want to take on these projects now.
I wouldn't.
It's the brand is so tarnished, and it can destroy your career. If you happen to be attached to a stinker, you're not going to recover. Fans don't forget.
Mm-hmm. So Spencer writes here, as practically every fan of the foundling Young Avenger member has at this point discovered, when the Marvel Cinematic Universe's version of Billy Maxwell made his post-WandaVision return in Agatha All Along, he did so with an origin story that deviated significantly from that of his comic book counterpart. And according to series showrunner Jack Schaefer, this change was made, simply put, because she personally had no patience for the superhero source material story. In the most obvious reveal of all time, in the 6th episode of Agatha All Along, it's revealed that the young man accompanying the series titular witch, as played by Joe Locke and heretofore known vaguely as the Teen, was actually none other than the magic-wielding half of the Scarlet Witch's magically conjured twin boys, Billy Maximoff. His existence short-lived thanks to Wanda undoing her Westview hex at the end of WandaVision. At the exact moment the Avengers' magic fades and her children eventually dissipate into the ether, another young man by the name of William Kaplan and his parents suffer a violent car accident, with the family slamming into a tree as being run off the road by an oncoming vehicle. Barely clinging to life following the crash, William ultimately succumbs to his injuries and his heart stops beating before his parents can help. And upon William taking his last breath, Billy's wayward gay soul desperately editorializing there. Desperately scrambling for an anchor to reality makes its way into the boy's body.
I was just thinking that. Sorry, but I couldn't ignore that with Kevin. I'm sorry. Good.
From there, William suddenly shoots back to life randomly, at least in his perspective, shouting out the name Tommy as he does. Walking away from the accident with said name burned into his brain and a new ability to magically heal other people's thoughts, William proceeds to seek out Agatha for help. So, of course, as comic book readers may have surely noted, the MCU's version of Billy's story is much different. Way back in the far-off year of 1986, after years of navigating their tumultuous romance and taking on supervillains side by side, the second Vision and the Scarlet Witch miniseries, as penned by Steve Englehart, concluded with the two Avengers defying the odds of Vision's non-biological existence and giving birth to a set of healthy twin boys, who they named Billy and Tommy.
Sadly, can you guys tell how much like I like comic books and I wish they were good still? Because like I clearly just went all in describing it, going down this to the point where I was like, oh, I have spent an hour on this. I did not need to spend an hour researching Billy and Tommy's backstory. Nobody would care but me.
I love you for it.
And then, of course, Kevin. I know Kevin's always there for me.
I loved the overcoming the odds of his non-biological.
Thank you. I tried. You got to remember. Robot.
So shortly afterwards, in Avengers West Coast Volume 1, number 52, Wanda's mentor, Agatha Harkness herself, finds herself questioning now how a mutant woman and a synthezoid man could conceive children, but also why, when Wanda isn't paying attention to them directly, the two boys seem to blink out of reality altogether. But before anyone can even begin to investigate the issue, the supervillain known as Master Pandemonium reveals himself to the happy couple to reveal that not only were their children not real, having been conjured by Wanda out of thin air by using magic to manipulate two pieces of the villain's soul, which he had previously sold to Mephisto in exchange for power. Wow, Spencer, you really went deep.
But also, even right there, yeah, I cut myself off right there. I'm like, and that's a story for another day because I could have had
that's a whole other story.
You don't have to take my word for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you,
this is so creepy,
freaking bonkers.
Oh, whoa!
The original bonkers. Baby hands.
Yes, got baby hands.
I love John Byrne. He is one of my favorite artist writers. This story was effing bananas.
It's so bonkers even to this day, Kevin. Like even like going back and getting these images, I was like, man, this is so. At one point, he like Pandemonium turns the baby into like a half, like the Violator from Spawn, and like bites Wonder Man's head, and it's just like, what? I love comic books. What are we doing here?
I got this issue. It came in like a Marvel like random comic book box for Easter.
Yes.
And I'm entirely too young to be reading it. I'm like, what is happening here? And then
Happy Easter, Demon Baby Hands.
Oh my goodness. Demon Baby Hands. However, like the MCU, this erasure from reality was not the end for the twins. Attempting to deal with and heal from the loss of her sons, Wanda's grief eventually leads her to blame the Avengers for the tragedy. Unfortunately, seeing an opportunity to both protect her sister, Pietro proceeds to manipulate her mind and convince her that the only way for her to stay safe was to rewrite the world in her father Magneto's image. And eventually, yes, no more mutants and all of that jazz. We also, unbeknownst to anyone, while the world dealt with the now remaining 198 mutants, the Avengers began to navigate the burgeoning Skrull invasion. Two families were welcoming the newest additions to their family. Billy for the Kaplans in New York and Tommy for the Shepherds in New Jersey. Oh, poor Tommy. Roughly 15 years later, the boys would discover that they each... I feel you, man. I feel
right? Like, oh, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah,
the
boys...
The Garden State.
No.
It's
the boys...
the Garden State if the garden is that garden from the like Portland Chaz zone from like
listen, I love Jersey. It will always be a part of me, but there's a reason why the Statue of Liberty is facing the other way. The boys would discover that they each possess their own set of superpowers, Billy having an affinity for magic and Tommy being one of his few true speedsters. And of course, they, join in with the young Avengers. Admittedly, even the world's most dedicated and veteran comic book readers can only admit that while the story works as integral to the history of the 616, Billy and Tommy's origins are a bit convoluted. However, despite this, the fact that other characters with much, much more ridiculous origins have had their stories adapted far more accurately. For example, Moon Knight. The aforementioned Schaefer refused to either earnestly engage or even attempt to tackle Wiccan source material. Asked, how did the writers decide to depict Billy's consciousness inhabiting William's body during a recent interview? Her first reaction upon learning the basics of Wicked's comic book origins was a baffled, "What? Say it again? Why are you even doing this if you've never read a comic book?"
I was
She
just
didn't know who
gonna
Mephisto
say.
was.
Because Kevin Feige is a overpraised, do-nothing grifter hack who has done this to Marvel Studios. John Favreau did all the heavy lifting.
Like, if you guys
Promoter.
remember when Jack Schaefer was doing
and
WandaVision and
promoter.
she was on that press tour, she straight up came out and was like, "Yeah, I don't do the comic books. Like, I just can't get them." That's what she said. She's like, "I can't get the comic books." And
Well,
it's like, so why are we here?
And it's like the showrunner for She-Hulk. She was writing a superhero show, having never read comic books. She was writing a legal show, having no ability to write the law, and writing a comedy while being a very not funny person.
Seriously, how do you not just find someone who wrote for Ally McBeal or Boston Legal and say, "Hey, your main lawyer turns green"?
Do you want because there's this, and I don't know there's a thing that's happening, and I don't know the reasons, and I just need to tell you about it, Kevin, because you'll realize it too. That doesn't happen because right now there's this very, very weird pipeline in Hollywood of like straight from Rick and Morty to any project you want. If you go and you look at like the last 7 or 8 mark, like pretty much almost everything since Endgame that wasn't Eternals, because that was Chloe Zhao and she just did her own thing. All of those writers were like, "What's your credit?" "Oh, I worked on 4 episodes of Rick and Morty." The guy who was assigned to do the Avengers Doomsday Kang, like the next 2-parter Avengers, the original guy, his biggest credit, 2 episodes of Rick and Morty and 400 as a team writer for the Jimmy Fallon show. Like, what? This is what I'm trying to say, is that that logically is what you would think, right, Kevin? Like, "Oh, I'm making a legal show. I'm going to go get people who had legal show experience." But there is something going on in Hollywood, and this is where I don't have an answer, whether it's straight nepotism or it's them cutting costs. I don't know. But there is a significant pipeline of like, we're going to get a Rick and Morty, like a Teen Titans Go, like those, not even a Teen Titans Go. That's insulting because that they actually kind of like the source
they
material.
like their stuff.
Yeah. So it's like Rick and Morty, Jimmy Fallon, all the late night. It's all these, and they're not even like lead writers. They're all team writers, and then they get their big own project off of nothing. And I don't know what it is, but that exists.
Dan Harmon, Dan Harmon, in his quest to go woke, has unleashed upon Hollywood a plague of talentless writers who Rick and Morty was fantastic for the first 2 to 3 seasons. And then all of a sudden,
I agree.
One person with a stick up their butt all of a sudden went on Twitter and was like, "Wah! There's no female writers on their writing staff. Wah!" So then Dan Harmon went out there and found a whole bunch of lady writers, and the show stunk.
And you know what's funny?
Instantly stunk.
Especially if you watch Community. He talked about this in Community.
I know, it's so weird. I can never believe that like this is the same Dan Harmon who did Community. I'm always so baffled at like past Dan Harmon compared to now, because I love Community. To this day, I still like, I laugh at all the jokes. I think it's super clever. I love it. But then I look at like current Rick and Morty and what he's doing, and
I know exactly what happened.
Hit me.
He made that kind of creepy-ish baby skit. And he survived being canceled.
Oh,
But
so
he
now it's all
survived
just like
being-
mea culping and like, "Please don't get me again. Please don't get me again."
He had to make a devil's bargain to not go on the canceled fire list. And now we're kind of like stuck with it. And I don't
He sacrificed Justin Roiland on that fire.
Well, he couldn't have pushed him out of the way fast enough. He actually he was pouring the kerosene on him.
Justin Roiland vindicated by a court of law by the U.S. justice system and is still canceled. I got wrong.
Well,
many
I never knew that. I never knew that he was vindicated. That's part of it.
Oh yeah, no, they went to court and he was found innocent. He was found innocent.
Very
all of that
quickly,
news
too.
came out of what he did. That I heard easily, but hearing that he was vindicated, I did not hear that easily.
Yeah, because nobody talked about it and nobody gave him a single one of his jobs back. Solar Opposites on Hulu, he's still not a part of that. The show he created, Rick and Morty, he's still not back on that, and he's never gonna be.
Wasn't he Lemon Grab?
He was also the Duke of Lemon Grab. Yeah. God, he's very talented.
Oh, don't even get me started on Adventure Time. That's been a discourse over the weekend, and it makes me mad.
Oh, I'm sure. Then these writers came on. They got a few seasons of Rick and Morty under their belts, and then just spread out to just ruin entertainment for everybody. And look, at the end of the day, these people always want to go on and on about how, like, oh, men can't write these female stories because how could they possibly, understand the subtle nuances of the female experience or the minority experience, the gay experience? How did a bunch of female writers expect to go into the most testosterone-driven show on the face of the planet? You don't know that experience. Rick and Morty was a very clever fart show.
It was dirty Doctor Who.
Basically,
I
what if the doctor was an American sociopath?
Or I like what Marvin just said, which is dang it, just blanked. The way you just described it was perfect. Like a funny, like a clever fart show. Like a lot of people gave it, that whole praise. Like, this is the smartest show. You need a high IQ, and I'm like, it's smart, but guys, it's still a fart show. Like that. At the end of the day, we're still laughing at fart jokes.
I just want to remind the viewers not to look up "dirty Doctor Who" on your search engine, particularly.
Yes, please don't.
This reminds me, or this just came into my mind because we're talking about Rick and Morty. But do you guys know there's that Warner Brothers crossover, like Smash Brothers game, Multiverses?
Yes, I've tried it.
Yeah, it's not great. Like the gameplay is
terrible.
very it's pretty bad, especially if you're coming from Smash. But they DC recently launched a 4-issue like tie-in miniseries just to promo the game, and it's actually pretty decent for like what they're working with. The writers know what they're doing. But at the end of the second issue, the Justice League, like the DCAU Justice League, gets a call from Metropolis, and they're like, "We need help. Come with us now." And Superman is like, "Steven Universe, Garnet, I just saved you guys. Come with us. We need to stop this threat." And they get to Metropolis and they land. And all of a sudden the sky goes black and a bunch of tentacles whip out and start like, hitting their minds. And Superman's like, "Oh no, it's Brainiac. Everybody get back." And then I think it's Batman goes, "That's not Brainiac." And the next thing you see is a giant Rick like shaped Brainiac ship going wubba lubba dub dub, and I was just like, oh my, I don't know if I hate this or I love it, but I think about it all the time.
Spencer, please tell me there's a scene where we get to see Batman interact with Bubbles. That's the thing I need before I die.
We have not gotten the Powerpuff Girls yet, but it's coming. There's a good sequence where he just cannot wrap his mind. Huh? Oh yeah, they're in the game. It's just they haven't gotten to that part in the plot yet. In the
he can't wrap his mind around what?
Batman can't wrap his mind around Bugs Bunny, and like he's like, "Where did he get the table? I locked him away. Where did he get this table? Who let him cook dinner?" And everybody's like, "I don't know. He just has it. Like, what are you talking about?" And Batman like cannot deal with it.
This doesn't justice with me.
What's his contingency plan when Bugs Bunny goes rogue? Does he have a plan?
He didn't have one yet. He's just learned about him.
He's indestructible. Turpentine, acetone, benzene. That's what you need.
Yeah, I got to kind of get us back on track. I think a lot of the problem with these writers too, we can kind of blame Joss Whedon for this. Is
we can blame for everything. I don't mind.
That's true, but especially after Buffy, you saw TV shows take this weird turn where dialogue had to be like witty and snippy and quirky and goofy, and like characters just couldn't have conversations anymore. And if they think you can write in that vein, you get probably more attention than you should.
Well, like Kevin, one of the things I've always loved as an American is there's always a saying that like America's national pastime is overcorrecting. So at that time when like Whedon got really popular, Firefly and all that, and Buffy, there was his writing was a breath of fresh air. It showed that characters could be a little more natural. They didn't have to be so stuffy and like reading off of a script. That's why a lot of people liked it, because it gave you the sense of like, these are real people to an extent, obviously, that I could have a conversation with tomorrow. Everybody saw how much everybody liked that and went, "We got to do all of that. Holy crap. Get me some jokes in here. What are we doing?" That's why all of the MCU, save maybe Captain America, is basically Spider-Man. Everybody is Spider-Man,
I get that
except
reference.
for maybe Cap.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. That one is less equipped though, and that's just him being like, "I'm there." But everybody else is like, "Here's a joke. Let me taunt you. Let me do this. I'm gonna make fun of your name. Oh, we're doing this now." And it's like, okay, this is just Spider-Man. You all wanted Spider-Man.
So I've got two about that. One is Joss Whedon. I think the only person alive who can read Joss Whedon dialogue and make it sound natural as if it's being said by a human is Seth Green.
I can get that. I can get behind that.
And the other one is I'm relatively
works for
certain,
toys.
Yeah. I'm relatively certain that the CW had a minimum pop culture reference per minute guideline that they imposed on everything, which makes a lot of Supernatural really weird.
Hey,
Weird.
Well, you had to make sure that
what did I do? What did I
You just put
Unleash the beast.
You just
watched
pushed
all-
the Supernatural button. You shouldn't have did that.
It's right behind me.
What did you do, Trish? You watched all of the seasons even after they killed the devil. All right, this is your fault.
I'd do it again tomorrow. I'm not
That's
ashamed.
my girl.
You
That's
guys
our
are
girl.
me.
Hell yeah.
I'm not trying to shame anybody. I just
Oh,
think
not
it's
you,
weird that.
Martin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Spencer is.
So we're still cool.
Oh yeah, we're good, buddy. Spencer, I don't know, but we're good, Martin.
Put him up.
This Spencer over here. All right,
He
back.
shows up on
Let's
time.
finish. Let's finish off this article so that we can then
I wanna talk about
get
Penguin.
to the super chats, and then I want to talk about Penguin. Yeah. So she's truth be told, I still don't fully understand it. I'm in for an instinctive plot line, Lord knows, but there were so many steps and so many characters, and I just had no patience for it. Noting that the current culture at Marvel Studios considers the original comics as suggested reading rather than story guidelines, Schaefer ultimately added that she made the change to Billy's origin because, quote, "You want the story to feel correct and familiar, but also still shock and surprise you." Who was shocked or surprised by this? This was the most telegraphed reveal in the history of television.
Well, not only was it telegraphed, but this is my favorite thing about Agatha was when you watched the first episode, if you had your subtitles on, it straight up says Billy. It just calls him Billy. It doesn't call him Teen.
They couldn't even figure they couldn't
Right.
even keep it a secret.
They couldn't do anything.
I just like
with
the
it.
idea that the captioner was just like, they all know.
It reminds me. It's always reminded me of the phenomenon of when played Khan Noonien Singh. It's every, for the
You're
first
being
trailer was
punished
like,
for
oh,
talking
there's
about
Khan.
interderpness.
Did someone put a hex on him?
Yes, and because he's talking about Into Darkness, this has to stop. No one is allowed to talk about this awful movie. It is. I think Into Darkness is an actual hate crime.
Kevin,
Yeah,
you're
when
telling
you do
me you
the
don't
Nemesis,
like the
that's pretty
scene where
bad.
he goes, "I am God."
Well, good to meet you. I'm Jim. This is Bones.
I don't know if you'll get a worse scene in Star Trek than when you see Spock yelling, "God!"
His magic space blood. And I love Carl Urban. He can say almost anything and I'll buy it. Listen, he was Cupid in Hercules and I bought it. But I had a hard time choking down magic space blood. Khan's magic space blood. I'm going to shoot it into the Tribble and we're going to save Jim. What? It's like they weren't even trying. They weren't
In the
even
pyramid-
trying.
The pyramid of hierarchy. Who wins on that? Because Benedict Cumberbatch is a British guy playing a Eurasian, but Ricardo Montalban was a Mexican playing a Eurasian.
Like, why couldn't we just get a Eurasian? I was willing to maybe he's gonna play.
You couldn't
maybe
get one
he's playing
because
Gary
they
Mitchell, and this could be interesting. But no, we were just lazy and went for Khan.
And they were talking about that before the movie even came out, and you could see JJ sweating while lying his ass off the whole time.
Well, and they still tried to play it off like it was some big, huge reveal, but everybody saw it coming from the first trailer when he was like, "I am better," and he's like throwing people around. We're all like, "Yeah, that's Khan Noonien Singh." Yeah. It was a whole thing. But anyway, I likened it to that. Okay, we got some super chats and membership gifting. You guys have been very generous here tonight. Holy heck. James T gifting 10 Tooneytown TV memberships. Thank you so much, James T. I hope that stands for James Tiberius. Because we love Star Trek on this show. And man, and Ewan Cumia gifted 1 Tooneytown TV membership, but that's not the only one he's done thus far. Plenty of Pixel Art gifted 5 Tooneytown TV memberships. Thank you very much for that. And then Ewan Cumia followed up with another 5 Tooneytown TV memberships. We are just turning the chat green tonight, guys. I love this. Plenty of Pixel Art for $5. Was Venom meh despite Tom Hardy, or was Tom Hardy not good? I like him, but know nothing of Venom. Tom Hardy makes interesting choices.
I'd say less on him and more the direction they gave him. Yeah. Like I think he did a good performance, but that he was just working with the material he had.
Or is it a lack of direction? Is it like nobody reined him in?
Well,
I think you can tell. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was saying, you can tell Tom Hardy likes Venom. He likes being Eddie. But when you remove Spider-Man from Eddie's life, there's a big chunk of who that character is that you're gonna have a really hard time bringing to the screen. And yeah, like you were gonna say, like this, it was really just kind of like the direction. Like I think he did a great job with what he had. They just didn't give him much. And the fact that and other than when he's being the symbiote, I think he does a phenomenal job as the symbiote.
Yeah. So Go and Shogi gifted 1 Tooneytown TV membership. You and Cumia gifted another 5 Tooneytown TV memberships. Thank you so much, man. Generosities. Rabbit Wolverine LC Kill 17 member for 1 month says, if somebody showed me a picture of Venom, the first thing that came into my head was the song Venom by Eminem. Not familiar with it.
I'm sure heard that song?
It's a tie-in. It's the tie-in song they did for the movie.
Oh, okay. Samuel Main gifted 1 Tooneytown TV membership. Thank you very much. And Alejandro Melendez for $4.99 says, Marv, Triple H did find Lillian Garcia in a freeze chamber. Vince put her there after trying to clone Howard Finkel and ended up with James Ellsworth. That makes sense. That makes sense. We'll have to put a pin in that and save it for Tuesday night for the wrestling.
What a pair of sentences.
I said on Tuesday night that Lillian Garcia has just been frozen underneath Titan Tower in Vince's lab, and Triple H found her and thawed her out, and that's why she's back now. So, yeah.
I'm just saying, if you just look at that for what it is, it's like it's interesting stuff.
I don't know if Vince would try. I don't know if Vince would try to clone Howard Finkel though. Like he already digitized his mind and put him in the internet.
This is trademark property.
Trademark of the World Wrestling Federation and your new lawsuit. And of course, I also gifted 5 Tooneytown TV memberships because, guys, we need to turn that chat green today because we are going to have a big night tonight after the show goes off the air. We're going to get the debut of a brand new members exclusive weekly show that is going to be from myself and Trish, and it is currently called Unnamed True Crime Podcast with Marv and Trish. So our first episode is debuting tonight right after this. I've already got it uploaded on YouTube. I just have to finish posting it. And it is going to be about the Menendez murders. So that is going to be exclusive to all membership levels. So if you guys want to see Trish and I talk for an hour about murder, then come on in. But you know what? I feel the need to kind of pull the audience here for a second, Trish, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
So as of right now, the show is named Unnamed.
No,
True
just
Crime
listen
Podcast.
to me. I'm the right one.
Yeah. However, another name was put forth by me, and I got a little bit of pushback from somebody, wearing glasses. Who's a female.
I feel like it's a valid concern, but I'm being told that my concern is not needed, so it's okay.
So the actual
Women
title
should be seen, not hurt.
Yeah, the actual title that we want to go with for this show is Crime and Punishment with Marv and Trish.
We don't need to suffer for your suffrage.
I just didn't want it to maybe sound like we were like, yay. murder. You know what I mean?
We're not saying yay murder. We're talking. I mean, you swoon over the Manatee.
You though, yay murder.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
say
clip that.
yay murder.
I do wish you wouldn't call it that, because that's what I was going to name my Dostoevsky fanboy podcast.
Oh my goodness!
Well, now we
And
have to steal it.
Well, now 5 more people can watch it because Plenty of Pixel Watch has gifted 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. So the I think that Crime and Punishment is the title. Yeah, you know what? While I take a drink of water for 2 minutes, you guys can watch the intro to what Crime and Punishment is going to be. Or, you know, I'll give you the Crime and Punishment version of the intro. And yeah, I'm going to take a drink of water while you guys watch this real quick. So if you guys want to, what was this, Spencer?
I was gonna say I love like that intro is so deep, it's so thematic, it so works, and then it like hits that last chime and it fades in to a puppet.
Yep. So guys, if you want to check out this show, it's weekly. You got to be a member to do it. So eventually we might make this
first episode free, right? Preview episode.
No, not doing that. We might
eventually.
Maybe eventually we will release the first episode for free, so people can
not off the bat. No way, that defeats the purpose.
Yeah. So yep. Join us, guys. Turn the chat green, and we will see you guys for the first episode tonight of unnamed true crime podcast / crime and punishment ? As we have been calling it. Trish, what's our case for next week?
Chris Watts. If anyone knows that horror story.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's not a comedy show, guys. It's just if the intro didn't give that up. Like we're actually talking about brutal, horrific murder. So all right, guys. We need to talk a bit about a show that I love. Now, since we've already talked about a show that I hate, The Penguin has
Hold on. May I say something before you get into The Penguin, because I know that will be at least a 20-minute conversation.
Sure.
I am being browbeaten by everybody today. Spencer, most of all.
Hi.
But now in the chat, Alejandro, Trish, need I remind you that you live in a Margaret Atwood novel? Speak more heresy and it's 10 whip lashings and half rations for you. I'm just a woman with an opinion here, guys. You know?
Oh my goodness! You're standing in the way of crime and punishment.
No, it's just this is about supernatural. I'm just getting beat up from all angles tonight. I just wanted to have a good time. I blame Martin for this. This is Martin's fault.
It's probably Martin's
I didn't say I didn't like Supernatural. I just said it was awkward when they shoehorned in pop culture.
No, the only reason it's your fault is because you brought it up to begin with.
That's probably true, yeah.
I've never seen Supernatural.
Well, now I
they're
don't know if
violent.
I want to say anything to anybody about it because I'm just gonna get like again. So
One more time, you're gonna get what?
It's what brilliant form there. You should watch our Rocky episode of the Genre Guys that Lauren and I did with Lou.
See, another time.
Look, I have said repeatedly, I will watch Supernatural with you as long as
I
we can
don't care.
monetize it and make it a members only exclusive thing. As long as I'm getting something out of it.
Okay, I made an assumption about the gender. I shouldn't have done that. Is someone in the audience, and I'm also getting beat up by a fellow woman.
Well, that's
isn't that expected? Yeah.
Yeah. You guys all hate each other. It's,
I don't see this is like what you mean.
There's not like a sisterhood.
What happened to our beautiful Tooney Town community?
I don't know. It's like beat up Trish night or something.
What about that what was that Family Guy jingle? Men, we know how to be friends.
No, it's friends, we don't know what we did.
Men, we don't know what we did. But the best one was men, we know how to be friends.
Yeah, there's that other one too. Yep.
Yes. Okay, so let's move ahead into the Penguin because this show has been stellar, guys. If you're not watching it, I mean, it's been really good, right, Kevin? Like it has just been exceptional.
Yeah,
the best show on TV right now, currently.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes were some of my favorite TV episodes in a very long time.
Yeah. The character of Sophia Falcone has been handled brilliantly. I thought I was a little wary of her character in the flashback episode because I thought they were getting a little bit into, she's just been done wrong by men. But the more I watched that episode, the more I just fell into that character and just kind of like really like absorbed her entire, backstory. And it made me connect to her so much more in the present when she's doing all the things that she's doing. I mean, this better end with us seeing Oswald become the Penguin and like fully take over Gotham.
The only complaint that I have, and I get it because Oz Cobb is not Oswald Cobblepot, is that sometimes I think he's a little dumb and it gets under my skin, or I should say he's a little unnecessarily sloppy, but he's also not Oswald Cobblepot. He is Oz Cobb. Other than that, I think and I guess the fact that Sophia marries into becoming a Gigante, but I understand why they made the change, and I like it. I think Sophia is one of the best TV characters I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah. Is anybody else here watching The Penguin besides Kevin and I?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, Martin, what have you been thinking about it?
I like it a lot. I haven't liked a gritty crime drama in a while, and I did not anticipate liking a not Batman show.
Me too. That was my big thing.
That kind of leads to a question because I'm not able to see this. I don't have Max or whatever it's on. But is DC capable of doing anything else of the same caliber, or are they just done?
Oh, that's a good question. It all depends on what James Gunn brings to the table, honestly, because this is not a James Gunn production. What was it, Kev?
I was gonna say I think so. It's just going to be a matter of where they go with the proper universe. Like, listen, I like this show significantly better than the Batman. I did not enjoy the Batman at all, with the exception of how they presented Gotham. I just did not enjoy the movie at all. But I am really enjoying the Penguin. Really enjoying the Penguin.
See, I've got all kinds of nervousness about what Gunn seems to be doing with Superman. I'm not feeling any kind of excitement for that, and it's got me nervous for the entire enterprise.
Not to derail, but I have not been satisfied with 97% of the casting. I'm underwhelmed by a lot of the costuming. I know we live in a world where we're supposed to fix it in post, but we saw those what was it called? DCEU costumes were phenomenal looking in person. So I don't know why we're choosing to take a step back in terms of quality. I do like that we're putting crypto in the movie. I thought that was something I would never see.
I think they're going to do it in a way that's not corny and it's not like campy.
Yeah, and I think he's going to embrace the super science part of DC, which I think is important because you do the MCU is more DC. It's like they flipped. The DCEU was Marvel, was what Marvel movies are supposed to be, and the MCU is what DC movies are supposed to be. And I just I don't know. I'm worried that I'm not excited about any of this, but I'm also kind of hopeful because we don't have a lot of information right now too. I don't. Yeah, I'm of two minds of it. I just. Yeah.
I'm going to reserve judgment on some of these things like the costumes and stuff like that until we see it, because those costumes are made to be filmed by particular lenses and under particular lighting, and so they could work for what they're going to do.
Well, if it helps, I didn't like it in the picture of him sitting by the official picture of him sitting by the window. I
wasn't crazy about that either. And then they later said, well, it's not so much an official picture as a snapshot we took on set, but that was still your introduction. So there's not a lack of good acting talent out there, and there's not a lack of good writers out there. It's just not all coming together anymore. I don't know why. I know why, but we all talk about it constantly.
But I like the way they've handled
with a big red flag.
I like the way they've handled the existence of Batman in this, like where we know he's out there. They referenced him once in the first episode, and then he's just not mentioned again. Because this is such a self-contained story. It's the mob fighting the mob with not a lot of civilian interaction here. So it's not a thing typically that Batman would get involved in. And the Batman kind of did one thing that the movie I felt did a very good job of is pointing out the enormity of Gotham versus just one man, that there's all these crimes going on in the beginning and he can only stop one of them. Lauren, did you get that from the Batman as well?
Kinda. It's like I have mixed feelings about the Batman because, like Kevin, it's not my favorite interpretation of the Batman, but it is my favorite interpretation of Gotham. The city really is a character in that movie, but I was totally into the movie, to my surprise, because I'm not really a big fan of what's his name as Bruce Wayne / Batman.
Robert
but
Pattinson.
for the first 2/3 of the movie, I was totally into it. It was surprising me. But then the last third happened, and I feel like it just completely fell down on the ending. So I loved what I saw of Oz in the Batman, and I was really excited about the idea of a Penguin spinoff. And so I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not getting to watch it with you guys, because that's a show I think I would actually enjoy watching. But
Lauren, we have got to find a way for you to be able to watch this show. I'm sure we can find.
I'm sending a message in a private. Actually, oh wait, no, I have Lauren's number. Hold on.
But we're not going to say anything. We're not going to say anything like that out loud. But we need to find a way for Lauren to watch the show. Yo ho, brother. But it has just every week I'm like, I'm waiting for the moment for DC to disappoint me, and every week it gets better, and I'm like, oh man, this is good. It's just really good. And I love how good it is, because I love talking about things that I like. And I feel like in today's like pop culture climate, we don't get to talk about the things we like very much, because the things that we like aren't being made anymore.
Yeah,
I even like Victor, his young sidekick, because at first, when they introduced a young sidekick, I was just like, great. He works. He's good. He's got his own arc going on.
Wait a minute. Victor. Is that Victor Zsasz?
No, it's not. No, it's not Victor Zsasz. It's Kev. What's his last name? Because he is a comic book character, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't remember I can't remember Victor's last name. For some reason, I have a mental block on it.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Victor Aguilar.
Okay, I'm kind of a Zaz fan, and so I was kind of excited that was going to be him.
No, it's not Victor Zaz. It's he's like a stuttering teen whose family got wiped out by the flood in the Batman, and he's caught trying to steal the Penguin's tires off his car in the first episode, and so Penguin like stops him and like
this is reverse Jason Todd.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it kind of was. It kind of was, and he makes him like come along with him and like hide a body, and then he's gonna and then he's gonna kill him. And he's just like, why don't you turn around and take a look at the sun? The sunrise is real pretty. Why don't you go turn around and take a look at it? And the kid begs off, and something about that just kind of makes Oz take pity on him. And he kind of
please that caught me.
It was the stutter.
It was the stutter because he found kinsmanship, and because our Oz has the gimp. He has the scar. They look down on him and that's it's a huge part of their relationship and why it works. They've done a great job of having Oz be this despicable character, but there's like this little tiny rays of humanity where like you find yourself rooting for the person, but like just being repelled by what he's doing. I would say it's kind of everything you kind of hoped that they would have actually done with Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
When the show first started,
it's the best of the tragic character attributes where you can see what this guy could be, but he has this flaw that prevents him from ever rising above what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he keeps bringing up this like guy that was, I guess, like the crime lord that like ran his neighborhood when he was a kid. He's brought him up a couple times now, and he was this guy that he like idolized as a kid, and he's like the guy that he's trying to emulate. And it's so good. Like it's so cool. At first, even like his limp, the way like he waddles, like like a penguin. I thought I was gonna get real tired of that real fast, and it works. It works for the character so well. That he's got this like this deformity, this disability.
And a lot of this is on Colin Farrell's shoulders as an actor. He when he walks, he looks like he's in pain. When I was saying earlier that we're not lacking for talented actors, Colin Farrell's a guy who had a big moment a few years ago, and then kind of started doing character stuff, and he's gotten to be a even better actor than he was.
Yeah.
I was like, I really hope that they give him something for this because he is acting his butt off. And again, like I said, he's been around for a really long time. He has established himself, but he's also been around long enough where he can start just playing himself over and over and over again. Like once Pacino did Scent of a Woman, we only got Scent of a Woman Pacino.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the fact that he has jumped into this character, and if you didn't know it was Colin Farrell, you would never know it was Colin Farrell. And again, and not to take away from Mom, but Sophia, her journey. Like
Kristen Milotti's killing it. She's doing an amazing job in this show.
In her episode where she goes to Arkham. Like they've done little things that I just love, just for instance, when Oswald is planning, they have a shaky cam on him. They have a shaky, so it's very manic, it's very frantic. Same thing with Sophia. She's just this overachieving daddy's girl. Then she gets thrown into Arkham, and then you watch her go into this feral state, and then once she realizes everything that not just her dad, but the entire family did to her. Boom. You get the steady cam. And I mean, even from the costuming and the way they did her hair, it's fascinating to me when you actually have creative people doing creative things to tell a story. They're giving you these amazing visual cues And like there's a scene where I don't, but there's a scene where she finally comes into her own. She's wearing this beautiful dress. Her hair is like style, but it's like a little wild, but it's like really pretty at the same time. And then boom, it's they complete with this really cool steady cam shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the juxtaposition because the more steady the shot is getting for Sophia's scenes, the more out of control the shaky cam is getting for Oz's scenes. It's just it's effing brilliant. It's just effing brilliant.
It really is. And the thing that I love about Kristen Milotti in this, she looks so much like Talia Shire. And in the beginning, just like in the beginning of her flashback episode, just really gives this like she almost kind of looks like Connie Corleone from The Godfather, Talia Shire. And by the end of it, I mean, like she becomes Michael by the end of that episode. Essentially, she becomes Michael Corleone. And by the way, one of the things that I really love in this is Salvatore Maroni being played by
Clancy Brown.
By Clancy Brown. I was about to say the Kurgan Mr. Krabs, but yes, by Clancy Brown. He's a fantastic. He has such a menace to him, and his size and his like just his I mean, how have more people not made this man a crime boss?
I had no idea.
He was Lex Luthor.
What was that, Lauren?
I had no idea Clancy Brown was in this. So tell me, if he's playing Sal Maroni, have we seen Harvey Dent?
We have not, but he's in jail, so they could have. We just don't. He could have already scarred Harvey. Because
Sal Maroni's in jail.
We just don't know. Yeah, we just don't know.
Sal Maroni is in jail in this.
But because you know what is with the exception of Burton, they don't know what to do with Harvey Dent because he was there, but not right away. But we're supposed to act like he's been there since day one. And they all know that they want him to be Two-Face, but they never want to spend time on the story. To this day it baffles me. Like, I get it. We lost Heath Ledger. It was a big shock. But I kind of go like same thing with Last Jedi. I'm like, you guys had enough time to go back in and do a couple quick reshoots, and you could have had Two-Face survive and just let Two-Face do what Joker was going to do in the third movie.
I want to ask then, how would you have felt if we had gotten the Burton Billy D. Williams Two-Face? How do you think that would have gone?
I think it would have been fascinating. One, because Billy D is traditionally so pretty. He's a pretty man. It is what it is. He's a pretty man. And he's always played characters who are very cool. So
that's what I wanted to see is if you got Billy D. Williams with menace, which I don't think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen him play like a genuinely scary guy. I'll bet he'd have had a lot of fun with that role.
The thing with Two-Face for me is we've never actually gotten Two-Face in anything live action because we've never gotten the split personality between Harvey and Two-Face. And it's always just kind of been he's angry or he's cartoonish, or we've never gotten like him hearing the voice in his head. The Batman the Animated Series did it the best with Big Bad Harv.
I really liked the backstory they gave him in Long Halloween. And you can see that bubbling underneath the cool exterior is somebody who's struggling through some real problems.
Yeah, I like that the problems are always there. Like the schizophrenia is always there, the multiple personality disorders, it's always there bubbling under the surface. And it's not until the accident that he just fully embraces it, essentially surrenders to it, I guess you could say. But yeah, they were never going to let the Penguin introduce Harvey Dent, though. That is a thing that they're going to save for a Batman film. I think we've seen all the Batman characters in this show that we're going to see. And I think the show just kind of exists in its little like organized crime world at this point. But I will also say one of the last things I'll say is in the Sophia Falcone flashback episode, seeing what Arkham is like on the inside, that was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, that was insane.
So what is it like for someone who hasn't seen it? Could you compare it to something? Or
I mean, it's I don't know.
It's what you would imagine a big city mental institution is.
But from like the 1950s. Like, it's just, they're all like, everything is filthy. They're all wearing rags. It's,
So-
people like
Does it look like the Arkham Asylum for the games, the Rocksteady games Arkham Asylum?
No, it's much more industrial.
Dungeon-y.
Not industrial.
dungeony, I would say. It's more like a dungeon, right? Like
I was like brutalist architecture, like the standard government building kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not because the there's a sense of decay to the one in the video game that I think Martin hit the nail on the head. It's exactly what it is. Man, it's just, I mean, Lauren, you will like this show. I really think you will. And Colin Farrell, I mean, he deserves an Emmy nomination, if not to flat out win for this. He should have gotten an Oscar nomination for the Batman because maybe because the role wasn't really big enough, but just the transformation that he undergoes to become this character. Like if you didn't know it was him, you wouldn't know it was him. So, all right. Well, enough about good actors. Let's talk about Simu Liu a little bit.
Before we dive into what did Pro call him, the Boba Tea Bandit. I do want to give a shout out to Mark Strong, who is like the DC movie go-to guy. He's like in everything, and him jumping in to play Carmine. He did a phenomenal job.
That was him.
Yeah. Did a phenomenal job.
Playing a younger version of that Carmine Falcone. I thought that was brilliant.
I love whenever he pops up and stuff. I still lament that we did not get more of him as Sinestro. What he could have done.
Yes.
Sinestro
Core War with him as Sinestro.
Yeah. But we could say that about the last 12 years of DC movie casting is what could have been.
We don't have a ton of Simu Liu today, but there is an article that I came across that I thought was really interesting. So take a look at this, guys. It says, in Taiwan, Boba Tea fans are bemused at Canadian cultural appropriation spell.
Yes!
Taiwanese struggle to understand the fuss after Chinese-Canadian actor Simu Liu calls out Montreal-based company. So standing in line at her favorite boba tea shop in Taiwan's second biggest city, Lisa Chen was perplexed to hear that her preferred beverage had been embroiled in a headline-grabbing controversy halfway around the world. After a Montreal-based company pitched a convenient and healthier canned version of boba tea on Canada's version of Dragon's Den last week, a firestorm ensued. Chinese-Canadian actor Simu Liu, a potential investor on the reality show, raised concerns about so-called cultural appropriation and the lack of any indication that boba tea originated in Taiwan. There is an issue of taking something that is very distinctly Asian in its identity and making it better, which I have an issue with, said Liu. Everything should just be terrible. Who was born in mainland China and grew up in Canada, declining to back the company. Manjit Minhas, another judge on the show, announced in a video on Instagram several days later. This is the part that I didn't know, and this ticks me off.
We learned this right after. Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, she had decided to withdraw her offer of it to invest $1 million Canadian for an 18% stake in this company after more reflection, due diligence, and listening to many
never
of your
mind. I didn't hear this. I thought this was about her giving the money. I didn't know she took it back. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, apparently cancel culture. Look at that. His smile
Thanks,
says
Canada.
it all. Yeah. Well, Canada cancel culture is even worse than American cancel culture.
Canada is like the dystopian worst case scenario than anything that happens in America. So I'm not shocked.
It's the what do you call it? The like the cautionary tale.
It's what happens when you let a Castro run a country.
Yeah.
By the way, this also ticked me off. On Monday, after days of angry comments online, the company Boba offered a public apology online for the, quote, harm we have caused with our words and actions on the show. What?
Oh, shut up. Your tea is named after boobs.
Shut up. I'm withdrawing my investment.
Yeah.
I don't want to drink your slimy balls anyway.
To 21-year-old to 21-year-old engineering student Chen, though, the controversy felt silly and not worth getting upset about. Chen said that she did not see the problem with the beverage becoming part of the globalized food landscape with variations that are increasingly detached from its Taiwanese roots. Quote, it's great that more people can enjoy boba tea, she told Al Jazeera. In Taiwan, we're constantly coming up with new kinds of boba tea. So I think it makes sense that people abroad are doing so as well. Don't tell Simu Liu that, because despite not being Taiwanese, he apparently thinks this is his.
Can we put his head on a member of the Inquisition and have him scream, "No one expects cultural appropriation"?
Oh my God, yes. Lin Yuzi, who worked at a boba tea shop in Taichung from 2019 to 2022, had a similar reaction when he came across the controversy while scrolling social media. I don't think it's a big deal. They took boba tea and added their own twist to it, he told Al Jazeera. Boba tea can be quite easy to make, and a lot of the things you need originally came to Taiwan from somewhere else anyway. So it's all connected. Martin, this was your point.
Yeah, that was my point.
Lynn said the focus should be on the quality of the product and not the background of the company's owners. If they made a delicious new boba tea that's healthier, then that's good for everyone, right? Yes! Yang Zhu-ming, whose uncle owned a boba tea shop in Taichung, was less impressed with Boba's pitch, although he said he did not have a problem with people who aren't Taiwanese selling the drink. He said boba tea should be made fresh, and you lose that if you put it in a can and store it for a long time. But I don't see a
valid
problem.
criticism. I'm behind you there, buddy.
But I don't see a problem with people across the world selling different kinds of boba tea. Now, here is their official statement.
Gravity of the situation. Ugh.
Dear valued customers and public, we are very sorry for our delayed response. We needed some time to do our due diligence and fully understand the gravity of this situation. Shut up. First and foremost, we wanted to deeply apologize for the harm we have caused by our words and actions on the show. While it was never our intention to cause harm or disrespect the community that created and popularized this beloved drink, we take full responsibility for the impact of our actions. Additionally, Simu Liu raised very valid points regarding cultural appropriation, and we welcome this learning opportunity. What?
Simu Liu probably read this and, I don't know, did something inappropriate to himself, probably feeling like he won that entire thing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, Trish. You got to remember, this is Simu. I am the most virtuous person of all time. So what happened is he doesn't do that when he gets like excited. He doesn't touch himself and be misogynist by thinking of things like that, right? He like gets up an ego boost, and then he goes on like Instagram, finds somebody who just made a post about like, I'm feeling oppressed, and then goes like, hi, can I talk to you and hear about your oppression, and maybe we can share our stories. He gets like progressive bold off of this. I know he does, right?
He's like Spock's brother.
Right, exactly. It's like if a guy, like if I was a guy, like for me, I'm a guy. If I'm out and let's say a random woman comes up to me and she compliments me or she flirts with me or whatever, I will walk away from that and be like, yeah, I can get girls. Like I want to talk to some women now. Like I'll try and take that energy. He does that, but it's for progressive like showmanship. That's what it is. He's like, yeah, somebody complimented me on that. Well, now I'm gonna go out and yell at Panda Express. That'll get me my rock up. Like, let's go.
I feel your oppression. It runs deep. Share it with me.
I'm just picturing him stomping into a mall food court, going to a Panda Express, and just like,
he probably like faints. He probably walks into a food court and sees that none of the food is accurate to wherever it's from and isn't being worked on by like the very specific village it originated from, and craps his pants until he just like doesn't have blood in him anymore to stand.
He clutches Batista's pearls.
At the end of the day, when I walk into an Italian, if I catch a glimpse at the Mexicans working in the kitchen at the Italian restaurant that I'm going to be going to, I don't care.
That's one of my favorite. One of my favorite memes, Marvin, is the it's like a guy bowing at like to another. It's like an old Chinese painting of two people bowing, and it's like me to the Mexican cash register at Panda Express.
How far have we devolved as society now that we are literally canceling like drink products? Like, are we gonna start doing this to like McDonald's tomorrow? Are we gonna see like the Ronald McDonald apology video? Like,
do you not remember? No, it didn't get as much play, Nolan, because do you remember the Szechuan sauce thing from Rick and Morty? Like when that came back?
How could we forget?
Yes, I know, unfortunately. So obviously that news cycle got overshadowed by all the insane people going and like stomping and like destroying McDonald's or whatever. But there was a significant amount of people going, why is why does McDonald's think it's okay to manufacture like Szechuan sauce? It's not even like they did get on that. The second you give something a vaguely non-belonging to your people name, you're done.
That's why I love that Cobra Kai like just nailed it right in the beginning when they did the whole thing where people were calling him Daniel the racist.
Yes.
And like they made a joke about it and then moved on, and it was never brought up by people outside the show. I think it's also because the show is that damn good.
Right. Well, it's good, and that crowd of people isn't going to be watching it, Marvin. Like they were already out seeing an 80s property about fighting. That's toxic. That's masculine. And a white guy is leading it. Like we're out. So they don't. The people like that's the same. What like you see that all the time with people who don't engage with this media, whether it's on like our sides or the opposite side. They'll just bleat and yell and say this is bad, and then when you try and ask like, well, what about it is bad? What are we doing here? They go because it is, and it's just like this is dumb. We're dumb here. We're all dumb.
So it says here, boba tea, which in its most classic form consists of milk tea with chewy tapioca pearls, originated in Taiwan in the 80s before spreading to the United States in the 90s through Taiwanese immigration. Guys, the 80s. This is not a deeply entrenched part of your culture that your ancestors were. Spencer and I talked about this a lot. It's the 80s.
Simu Liu said it was a very dear thing to his culture, that it was very significant to him. So who are you to say that it's not?
Simu Liu is like if Cal Berkeley came to life as a stock photo model.
I had to pause to put that together in my head, but yes, that is very true. Oh my goodness. So amid explosive popularity globally, the boba market, which has expanded to include variations such as cocktails and ice cream, was worth $2.43 billion last year alone, according to Fortune Business Insight. In Taiwanese media, reaction to the controversy in Canada was muted, while discussions online paid more attention to whether the products were healthier as claimed than questions of identity. Despite the subdued reactions in Taiwan today, the early history of boba tea was itself actually marked by a battle over representation. As boba tea was first gaining popularity in Taiwan, two rival tea houses both claimed to have made the first iteration of the drink. The two sides
and Juliet.
I know, right? Maybe like the daughter of one married the son of the other, and bad things happened. The two sides spent years battling each other for the right to claim ownership, filing multiple lawsuits against each other in court. In 2019, a Taiwanese court concluded that since anyone is allowed to make boba tea, the question of who invented it was irrelevant. That's from the Taiwanese courts, by the way. Guys.
There's a court decision that Simu Liu is an idiot.
My ruling is you're an idiot.
Yeah. It's just so bad. It's so cringy. Like, I can't believe these people bowed and scraped before his throne. Like, you could have just held, like, I guarantee you that product would have exploded in popularity if they had just come out and been like, hey, Simu Liu, F you.
This is the most I've ever talked about boba tea in my life.
Weirdly enough, it's not the most I've ever talked about it.
Here's the thing too, Marvin, that you and I talked about this, and I know you know this, and it's on display from this article, is like Asian people, if you want to like try and adopt their culture or like emulate their food or whatever, they get excited. They think that shit is the best thing ever. Like my Filipino family, when I say like, oh yeah, I went to school and I shared my adobo with one of my white friends, and they went home and learned how to make it themselves, and they love it now. They get excited. They're like, oh, you got to give them this technique. You got to tell them how to do this. It's only weirdo activist Americans and Europeans, I guess, who crap their pants when another like race tries to do another thing of food. These people will not blink their eyes if an Indian couple runs a hamburger joint, or if a Mexican couple runs a Greek restaurant. They won't crap their pants, even though it's the exact same thing. That's what I mean. Like, it's all performative. Asians are an easy tool too to use, because these activists were either, useful to them or we're enemies to them. And it just works for whatever point they're trying to make at the current second.
I just want to know what Simu's going to do when somebody tells him where spaghetti came from.
He's gonna do what he did on the show and just like stop talking and look away with a look of like, yeah, okay, dummy. Like that's what he did on Dragon's Den when he got corrected, and it's like, yeah, that's what you think. You think nobody can be right except for you.
I just hate that he won in the end. Like he won, he got the apology from the place. The other lady on the show pulled her investment. I mean,
I know
that one actually annoys me more. Her pulling her money out of it.
Yeah,
I guess it's because there was such a backlash. You know, she was a losing endeavor. But
well,
I don't know.
It's kind of like Trish. I think where we're coming from, and correct me if I'm wrong in speaking for you, but I think we're on the same level. It's like the business is a small fledgling business. They're going to apologize because what else are they going to do? That's really hard to weather for them. But for a venture capitalist with millions of dollars who nobody like, she's big, but she's not like a celebrity famous person who's going to get canceled on Twitter. This doesn't affect her. This is nothing to her. So for her to voluntarily go like, yeah, I'm bending the knee, that's like a voluntary, you're dumb decision over like yeah, I know you're a business. That sucks, but that's the world we live in.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, right, Trish? Yeah.
Well, the only thing I can say is it's Canada, and it is a very different game there.
I mean, I'm just saying we're building the border on the wrong, or the wall on the wrong border. That's all I'm gonna say. They're coming in, they're taking our comedy jobs, and I'm not having it.
They're not sending their best, folks. They're not sending their best.
They're not sending their best. Mexico North.
I think
these are some bad hoses.
Simu Who. I call him Simu Who because who is that? But Simu Who.
Who? Simu.
We like saying Simu, don't we, folks? We like saying Simu, but he's not a good person.
I don't want to see you, Simu.
I feel like Spencer's been sitting on Simu Who for a while. Just waiting for the moment to use it.
That just came up with the Trump reference right now with my border.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Simu Poo.
I'm going to give a little bit of free advertising advice to the boba company up there. Retract your apology and make thank you Simu your 25% discount code online.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
Oh man. All right, we got some super chats to get through. Many of them having to do with the name of our potential.
It went a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in there.
I know. I saw you were conducting your show in the chat.
Well, actually, that was a runaway train without me.
It's true. That's true. It was not so much. Well, I call it the welcome to the Trishing hour in
right. Trishy Town TV or Trishy Talk TV.
Yeah. John JD999, member for 1 month, says, I really like The Penguin. As a newbie fan, I like that it's based in a movie that I've watched and they're explaining things. Sophia and Oz are neck and neck as my favorites. Yeah, I would be hard pressed to pick between the two of them. I mean, I probably would go with Oz because he's the Penguin and I'm a Batman fan, but Ryan Matheson for $1.99. Yay, murder has to be the title. Yeah, that's exactly what it's got to be. Yay, murder. Forensic Files says plenty of pixel art for $2. Ryan Madison says, since you can't get murder P word past the algorithm. Yeah, probably not. That would probably be a bad one. Jamie Earhart for $2 Canadian says, how about wine and murder?
It took a sharp turn into wine pun territory after that.
Butter Biscuit 92 for $2 says, hum bum 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 Batman. Butter Biscuit and I go back and forth about this a lot. Butter Biscuit seems to think that I hate this theme song in the Batman. I do not hate it. I just think it was overused. It was used a little too much. Lauren, was it not overused a little much?
I didn't mind it.
Every 10 seconds it was bum 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 bum.
Could you have to make space for?
I thought it worked really, really well in the trailer.
Yeah, yes, it did.
I could hear Lego Batman going bum bum bum. Batman.
If they made another Lego Batman, I think that joke would definitely be in there. Somebody took the warehouse fight from Batman versus Superman and they put it to in the darkest night. I make the bad guys fall. Which the I'm the Batman song from the Lego Batman movie is one of my favorite things in the world. It's in my gym mix. It is. But I'm the best of them all. I love it so much.
My favorite line is, who never pays his taxes?
Batman. Oh no, it's who always pays his taxes, and he comes up to the screen. He goes, not Batman.
That was it. Yeah.
You and Cumio gifted 1 Tooney Town TV membership. My goodness, thanks, man. You have gifted so many tonight. You are turning the chat green, and that is great because that means a lot of people are going to get to see crime and punishment tonight.
I think it's official, folks.
Well, I mean, in the
poll,
poll,
the
poll, the poll is deciding it. Jackie Boy for £5 sterling as proper money, as Culture Casino would say. He goes, "How dare you speak such blasphemy about the emperor of all Asia, excluding Russia and the Turkish parts, the great Simu Liu." That's the thing. You have to remember that
Emperor
when he says Asian, when he says Asian, he doesn't mean Russia.
I am the king of all Asians.
He means like Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees. Look at these. That's what he means.
Yes,
he does not mean like Muslims.
Does that make you one of the look at these?
Dude, I am wherever they want to throw me to like at any moment. I always refer to myself as the Mexicans of Asia. So whatever that buys us.
My Mrs. Movie Monster has coined the phrase for her people as jungle Asian.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've been using that for years too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jungle Asian, mud people. Nobody gets worse about my own people than me.
Oh my goodness. Rabbit Wolverines LC Killer 17 for $2 says Simu Liu needs to change his name to Simu Poo Poo. The good thing we have Spencer here to poo poo on him, both here and on Bounding Into Comics, whenever something happens when he comes up. Oh my goodness, guys. What a wild show tonight. Right. Lauren, I understand that we are losing you momentarily, so we always appreciate having you here. It's always a shame to see you go. Do you have to leave right now, or can you stay through one more story?
If we can make it quick, I can probably stay for one more.
What would you like to talk about? The Blade movie being dropped?
Sure.
Or would you like to talk about this apparent James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi film?
That's probably more my speed.
I had a feeling, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's your show, man. You call it.
Yep, let's go into that one. So James Mangold's, despite the fact that he destroyed Indiana Jones, James Mangold is getting another at bat for Lucasfilm with his Dawn of the Jedi Star Wars film. Could shoot next year, as Daisy Ridley claims her Rey film, quote, is evolving. So basically what's happening here is it's rumored that this James Mangold film, which is going to be focused on the creation of the Jedi Order, could begin shooting as early as next year. The rumor comes amid Daisy Ridley sharing that things are evolving for her Rey film. Screen Rant reports that Ridley provided an update on her Star Wars film during an early screening of her recent film Magpie. She said, "Things are evolving. I continue to be very excited. There will be an update soon." This movie's never happening. Because if this Mangold movie does film next year, that means it's taking Rey's place. It's unclear what this means, but Ridley has commented throughout the year that she has not seen a script for the film, but chose to return as Rey after hearing a pitch from Kathleen Kennedy over breakfast. For example, in Montreal Collider, I know a script is happening, and I'm going to be reading it imminently, which is very exciting. I don't know who's writing it, because the writer of the script is busy making Pinky Blinders. In fact, she claimed that the film could be shooting either at the end of this year or early next year. She said, "I think it could be this year. It could be, but I'm not sure." Maybe you should be sure, because that's a couple months of your life, Daisy. I think, to be honest, the writer's strike has obviously delayed quite a few things. So the intention was later this year. Hopefully will be, otherwise top of next, I would imagine. She previously told Allo Cine that the entire project came together last minute. Yes, it was quite last minute. I was actually making my own film last year, and Kathy Kennedy said she wanted to have breakfast and thought we were just having breakfast. So I was literally eating my breakfast, and she said, "Oh, we might do another one." And I was like, "Okay, fascinating."
I don't believe a word of that.
Me neither.
They keep bringing up that story, and yeah, Marvin, it's like the most boring behind the scenes story of all time. Like it's nothing. It's just like, hey, we're hanging out. You want to do another one? Okay.
Well,
it's not like something. It's not like things fell into place and whatever. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, hey,
we had breakfast, and I'm a Hollywood actress, so I was just eating a half a grapefruit, and Kathleen Kennedy was eating a whole stack of pancakes, and in between application of maple syrup, she was like, "Oh, by the way, we might do another Rey movie," and I was like, "Oh, cheerio." like, go ahead, Kev.
No. I just want to say, pip. Cheerio.
Yeah. World of Reels. So while Ridley claims that her film is evolving, any rumor from Daniel Richman via World of Reel claims that James Mangold's Origin of the Jedi film could be filming as early as next year. World of Reel's Jordan Rumi reports Daniel Rickman is saying that after Complete Unknown, Mangold's set to shoot his Star Wars movie Dawn of the Jedi, and it could happen as early as next year. Mangold's film was announced back at Star Wars Celebration in 2023. A press release from Lucasfilm said at the time it would take audiences deep into the past, telling the tale of the first Jedi to wield the Force and harness it as a liberating power in an era of chaos and oppression. Hey guys, I bet you I know who's going to be what the Jedi are going to look like and what the oppressors are going to look like. What do you think?
Have you ever read Into the Void? It's one of the legend novels. Star Wars.
I have not. Lauren, have you read that one?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, this actually was the Dawn of the Jedi novel.
Oh, is that the Great Hyperspace War?
No, this was a novel.
Predates that.
Yeah, there's Dawn of the Jedi. First, it was a Dark Horse comic series, and it was taking place basically in the time that Luke was talking, or Obi-Wan was talking about in The New Hope, 1,000 generations prior. So we're talking 30,000 years prior to A New Hope. And the comic series presents a much different idea of the Force and those who wield it and how they all came together and what the origin of the Jedi looked like. In the very opening issue, it involves people from multiple planets hearing a call to these mysterious spaceships that are shaped sort of like a flying pyramid. And they're drawn into these ships and whisked away to a planet in the very deep core of the galaxy called Tython. And they're all brought there, and they learn to commune with the Force together. But they use the light side and the dark side in equal measure. This is balance. And so it's a much different idea of balance than what the later Jedi would espouse. And this is before the Sith, so they don't have the political organization that you have in the Old Republic or the later movies or any of that. What you do have is the Rakata. And this is the era of time when the Rakatan Infinite Empire controls vast swaths of the galaxy. This is the time when Tatooine is actually covered in oceans. And as it comes to be found, the lightsaber is not invented yet. And in fact, the technology for building it is taken from what would be considered a dark side user. And so it's a very different take on Star Wars. It was very interesting. I really enjoyed the comic series, but it got cut off just as Disney bought the franchise and Dark Horse lost the license. And so it was cut off before it completed. They did do a novel, though, and it used the trope of having a brother and a sister, one pulled to the light, the other pulled to the dark, and their whole story. I'm betting it's probably more the novel that they're going to base this on than the comics. There would be an awful lot to introduce from the comics. I think that would probably be too much to do cinematically.
Although, if I remember the book, it's not so much the brothers pulled to the dark. He's trying to eliminate the Force.
Yeah, there's sort of a little bit of Krea's philosophy in there. I liked the novel. I didn't like the novel as much as I liked the comics. I thought that the comics were a lot better.
I thought the main charactress came across as an insufferable girl boss in the book.
Yes, and
he was better in the comic.
Yeah, that's very true. And
so perfect for Disney.
I don't feel that the novel. They were using some of the same place names and it was different characters, but still the same region of space. But it didn't feel like the same environment as what existed in the comics, if that makes sense. Obviously it was somebody else's take on this particular era. But again, it kind of died in its infancy because they were just spinning up this new era when the purchase took place. And so I felt like it was something that almost ended up stillborn, where it could have been as big as the Old Republic, but it never got the chance to be.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I just, guys, I cringe at the idea of Disney getting their hands on something like The Birth of the Jedi, because old KK is rubbing her hands together, just waiting to be able to inject all that ideology into the origin of the Jedi. Just some way to either make the Jedi the bad guys. I'm sure maybe we'll see them bring the hammer down on all of the stunning and brave witches of the galaxy.
Well, remember that they also tied into the origin of the Jedi in The Last Jedi. That's part of what that mural on Octo was about, if you remember that. And there is a point of contention here in that Tython was supposed to be the origin planet of the Jedi, and Octo claims to be. So my guess is they'll muddy up the old EU stuff again and say, well, it wasn't really the origin place. It was just a place. That's also why Tython in The Mandalorian didn't look like Tython from the Old Republic,
They went to Tython on The Mandalorian?
They did. That's where Boba Fett showed up.
Interesting, because I
it's
remember
very, very brief.
When it didn't even hit me that was Tython. And because when Darth Bane goes to Tython, he goes to the Techno Beast. What was the name of the Sith Lord whose castle he goes to, the fortress there on that world?
I know the one you're talking
about. Starts with a B.
Belina
Dazu, or I don't know, something like that. But
it's the thing about Tython in The Mandalorian is it looks like Northern California.
Yeah. In the Bane movie, it was like dark and like and the way it was described is like craggy and just like this world that was just ripped apart by dark side energy.
I mean, that's just Lucasfilm, right? Because I remember in Obi-Wan when they're like, "Oh, we went back to real sets," and they're walking outside. I'm like, dude, I can just hike that in California. Like I did that in college. We would go out on a Monday and just walk around, and that's it. It's not exciting.
Yeah, and I could probably spot Zach Braff driving through also.
Oh God,
Mandalorian season 4 will just be Mando and Grogu just walking through some school park or something like that. You can see the slide in the background.
Yeah, you see like actual like playground equipment in the background. No,
yes,
that's a space swing.
Very fancy.
Watching at home, thinking, "Hey, isn't that Walnut Grove from Little House on the Prairie?"
No, that's Walnut Institution from the Jedi. Yeah, you know that now.
Disney's always gotten out with this stuff, with Tython and Octu and stuff like that. They can always say, well, the Jedi just lied about their history because they wanted to erase the Sith involvement.
I hate that, yeah.
Yeah, it's I cringe to think, but why would any studio in their right mind give a movie to a man who just tanked one of the greatest film franchises of all time, producing one of the biggest box office bombs in history in Indiana Jones and the Diaper of Dysentery?
So I have a problem with James Mangold lying about what was going to happen in the movie. But I'm not willing to write James Mangold off yet, because I think what happened there had an awful lot more to do with Kathleen Kennedy and Phoebe Waller-Bridge than it did with James Mangold. James Mangold has traditionally made very good movies, and I think he's kind of guilty of the same thing that Dave Filoni is, in that he's being a good company man and he's parroting the company line and he's taking the blame for it. But I think if he were in creative control, that's not how Indy would have gone.
I would hope so, because man, oh man. But then what does that say for this movie? It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be under Kathleen Kennedy's direction. So what were you saying, Spence?
Oh, I was just going to say, if I had my way, when Dial of Destiny would have ended with him getting like a robot body and then taking on like Jason X. Let's really blow this thing out.
Kev, what were you about to say?
Do you really think this movie's coming out? This is the Kathleen Kennedy school of we need to say things are going to happen so that investors stay remotely active in what we're doing. She just had her 400th stinker in a row. Her only actual talent seems to be setting vast amounts of money on fire. I wish you had that Spielberg clip queued up.
Remember, Kathy came into the room with her steno pad and her pencil, and she was horrible at taking notes, and she was terrible, and she didn't really know how to do it very well. But what she did know how to do was interrupt somebody in mid-sentence. We'd be pitching ideas back and forth, and Kathy, who's supposed to be writing these ideas down, suddenly put her pencil down and would say something like, "And what if he didn't get the girl, but instead he got the dog?"
You got
Is that real? I've never heard that.
That's really Spielberg talking about her. Yeah.
Holy moly! I love it. That's my ringtone. That's everything now.
Kevin, I was not going to get rid of that. That is queued up, ready to go at all times now.
It was so snarky.
Oh,
she did know how to do was interrupt people mid-sentence. It was like, whoa.
What about the dog?
And like, see, that right there, I love it because that's the mentality of these screenwriters. That the idea of like, oh, what if he doesn't get the girl and get the dog? There's an idea there that could work, but she doesn't know what that is. All she's doing is like, what if that happens? Okay, Kathy, that doesn't work with anything. That doesn't make sense. No, but what if it does? Fine, fine, Kathy, fine.
I believe that Steven Spielberg's response to that was he held up his mug and said, "A little more cream, a little less sugar this time." So,
what if we called the dog Indiana?
He like
Where's the
started
dog
a line and said, "Have you read this book, Ready Player One?"
Good Lord. Oh my goodness. So there you go, guys. We might end up seeing the Dawn of the Jedi. Hopefully we do not. Hopefully James Mangold does not get another at bat. Hopefully another Star Wars movie does not get made while Kathleen Kennedy is at the helm of Lucasfilm. And Lauren Connor, we appreciate your time here tonight. We always love having you. You are a valued part of this bridge crew. And tell the folks where they can find more about what you're up to.
You can find me at Lauren Connor on X, or you can find me at Lauren Connor 9030 on YouTube. I'm at the Genre Guys every week. We review lots of great movies. You'll see me on Pro Stream from time to time. I'm all over the place. You'll find me somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend. We always love having you here. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
You bet. Have a great time, guys.
Catch you later, buddy.
Take care.
All right, guys, time to get into one of the bigger stories of the week. This one is also coming to us from Bounding Into Comics, and a good friend Spencer Bakuli as the author of that piece. Yeah. Marvel's Blade reboot continues to ice skate uphill as Disney removes Mahershala Ali film from 2025 release schedule. Gives premiere date to Predator Badlands. So here we go. Spencer, this opening, by the way, is my favorite opening ever. It should seriously not be that. You know what, Spencer? I want you to read it because I want people to hear it in your voice.
Okay. It should seriously not be this hard to make a movie whose basic premise is cool black guy kills a bunch of vampires, sometimes using katanas. But alas, Marvel has found a way. Marvin,
yes.
I want to reinforce that line because you love it so much. So I started writing this article. That was the first thing I wrote. I didn't have to think about it. It just came out. When I was done, I was like, I need to go back to some previous articles just to get some links and information about all of its cancellations. I opened up the most recent article I did about Blade, which was when they pushed back the date again last year. And my opening line is, it should not be this hard to make a movie about a cool black guy who kills vamp. Like, that's clearly where my mind is because I cannot get over how you screw this up. It should not be that hard. Even if you made this like a Tubi level movie about a guy with swords killing vampires, you're gonna make money. It's insane.
I love that phenomenon because like sometimes when I listen back to old shows, when I'm like gathering clips or something like that, I'll hear something said, and in my head I'll be like, oh yeah, this should be this, and this, and then on the screen I will suddenly say, yeah, it should be this, and this, and I'm like, oh okay. So like, it's good to know that your brain is consistent.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But anyway, Spencer goes on to say, in the latest stumble for the infamously stuck in development hell attempt to bring Blade into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, following a number of delays and setbacks to its production, Marvel has now completely removed the Daywalker solo film from the upcoming 2025 release schedule. as relayed to the public by numerous entertainment reporters, including Deadline's Anthony D'Alessandro, this development regarding the Mahershala Ali-led project was first confirmed on the morning of October 22nd, when an update to the House of Mouse's theatrical plans revealed that not only was Blade no longer set for its November 7th, 2025 premiere date, but also that its slot had subsequently been given to the next Predator franchise entry, Predator Badlands. And while it certainly doesn't inspire confidence in the titular Vampire Hunters MCU's prospects, at current and without any official word from either Marvel Studios, Disney, or Ali himself, it seems this latest scheduling change is currently being considered as an indefinite delay rather than, a full-on cancellation. To the same end, neither of these three entities nor anyone related to them have yet offered a public comment on this latest Blade-related setback. So, guys, is this movie ever happening?
No. He's making Jurassic Park, and I think he has something lined up after Jurassic Park. So, nope. Unless they recast him, and I think that they don't want to take that embarrassment.
That big L, yeah. Marvel can never take an L, no matter how big or little it is. So they're definitely not making the big one.
Per previous reports, and as noted above, this is far from the first production-related setback this had. First announced in 2019 at San Diego Comic-Con, 2 years after the fact the film would officially receive its first director in the form of Mogul Mowgli director Bassam Tariq. However, just a year later, it was announced that he would be exiting the MCU due to continued shifts in Marvel's production schedule. It says Bassam is no longer moving forward as director of Blade, but will remain an executive producer on the film. Marvel said this to the Hollywood Reporter. We appreciate Bassam's talent and all the work he's done getting Blade to where it is. What a blatant lie this is. Yes, I'm sure it had everything to do with the film schedule. No, it had everything to do with the fact that this is a sinking ship. Then in 2022, Marvel Studios tapped Lovecraft Country director Yan Demange to step into the director's chair. But like Bassam before him, Demange would only stay attached for roughly a year and a half before, as reported in June 2024 by The Wrap, he likewise chose to leave the project. And that's to say nothing of the fact that across its thus 5 years in production hell, Blade has gone through at least 6 total script revisions, which according to rumors have all been done in service of trying to navigate the project away from its original intention of introducing Blade's daughter as the franchise's main anti-vampire fighter in favor of actually focusing on the man himself. And there she is. And guys, if that's not a modern day Marvel main character, I don't know what is. Look at it. She weighs about about $110, and she's got pink hair. You know, this is 100%. This is a Marvel girl boss. Put a smirk on her face.
This is actually better than what they were originally going to do, because I didn't put the image in this article, but there is around the time they announced Blade, they announced that they were going to be doing a specific Daughter of Blade comic series over at Marvel, which, as we all know, can tell now and put the pieces together. It was supposed to set up the idea of Blade's daughter being the new MCU Blade, whatever. But that version of Blade's daughter had like the side shaved hair, the super like battle garb. It was like all the bad stereotypes rolled into one. So at least this is better. And I mean, it's fiction. I don't really care in fiction if they have different colored hair.
Look, the one thing
that means different things in real life and fiction.
True. The one thing that I said in my video this morning, where I covered this article in a solo video, I said that good for Mahershala Ali, because reportedly he's the one that kind of like stepped up and was like, "No, you're not doing this." Like so many actors, like Benedict Cumberbatch or Paul Rudd. They're just going to take the money. They're just going to take the paycheck, and they don't care if they're the titular character, but the role is put the bait and switch. They're tricking the audience.
But I think with those ones though, Marvin, I think that is a contract thing. They've signed on for a certain amount of movies, and once you're in, you can't just go, I don't want to do this anymore without losing a bunch of money. So when I guarantee Paul Rudd. I mean, we know Chris Hemsworth didn't like what happened in Ragnarok, but once he showed up on set, it was kind of like, crap, I gotta be here and do this.
He didn't like Ragnarok?
I think he means
Love and Thunder. Sorry. Yeah, I meant Love and Thunder.
Oh,
no, he was
okay, good.
For a second, I went like...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Ragnarok is delightful.
I brain farted that. You know, Ragnarok is supposed to mean like the end, so I always like mix it into like the last Thor movie. But yeah, no, I meant Love and Thunder. Love and Butthole.
Oh, that movie was so bad. Yeah. Apparently Mahershala Ali stood his ground and was like, "No, if you are casting me as Blade in a movie called Blade, the movie is going to be about Blade."
don't give him too much leeway though, because he did have the delightful idea when originally talking about it with Feige that the Blade movie was going to be about, I think it was 3 different stunning and brave women throughout history and Blade's impact on their lives somehow.
That wasn't him.
I thought that one was attached to him and Feige, and then it turned into
he didn't have
Blade's
any
daughter.
So what happened there was that was Feige and all the Marvel writers, and when Mahershala came in, the rumor that is probably 100% true, considering it came from a bunch of the sources we all use on the internet, Mahershala was pissed because he thought he was signing on to like have a Blade solo film, and when he saw that it was all about, you know, his mom, his daughter, and then like an evil vampire lady, he's like, this isn't what I signed on for. I'm an Oscar winner. You give me my Oscar winner movie. Like, I'm not doing this. So he is from like the jump been like, I signed on for Blade, not Blade.
But look at the bait and switch. There's nothing that annoys me more than a bait and switch, because the bait and switch is a lie. It is, we're going to lure you in with the promise of one thing and then present you with another thing. And for some reason, we believe that this one thing is going to be so amazing that you're going to forgive us for our deception. And we've seen it multiple times. I think the most notable bait and switch, I think, of the last several years was the Kevin Smith He-Man Masters of the Universe show, right?
Oh, has to be.
He-Man is dead in what, the first episode, and then we follow what's her name?
Tila,
yeah. What were you saying, Spencer?
No, I'm only hesitating because that is a very, 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 very bad one, and I think like that shoots to my the top of my mind too. But I almost feel like there's gotta be a worse one. So I'm one you're thinking like there's gotta be one that was way worse.
Yeah, there's one that's way worse. I just can't think of it.
Right? Like, I feel like there's something though.
Isle of Destiny.
No, because at least Indy was still in that one. I just knew that wasn't a bait and switch as much as it was just like a bad movie. That was just a really shitty movie.
Yeah. I mean, I considered Doctor Strange Mom to be a bait and switch because it was America Ferrara, the movie featuring Doctor Strange. But I mean, there was still enough strange. Well, I mean, it all comes down to the third act, right? Because at the end of the day, he did the really cool like dreamwalk thing where he comes back as like Evil Dead Strange, and you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be awesome. They are gonna finally throw down, and then America Chavez fights her.
No, okay, that's also, see, I kind of disagree with this narrative, because like I know what we all criticize here, and I don't feel like Multiverse of Madness fell into that. It's just the main plot character was America. She gets captured, thrown away for like the main like middle of the movie, and all she does at the end is deliver the multiverse punch to get Wanda out of there, like to get them out of that situation. Strange is the one the entire time who's like, I'm fighting, I'm doing all this stuff. You're just sort of along for the ride, right?
You know,
like he fought his evil self. He fought the Illuminati. He fought Wanda when she was with the Illuminati. He doesn't
fight. Does he fight Wanda at all? I don't think him and Wanda, because I was waiting for that big him and Wanda like big magic fight scene, and it never
it's not so much a fight. It's not so much a fight as much as he tries to like get everybody away to safety, and then that leads to that awesome Sam Raimi mirror scene where she like creeps out and like cracks her bones into the temple.
Oh, right. Yes, I do remember that. It's just, yeah, I wanted there to be a big Wanda Strange showdown in that movie, and it just kind of never happened.
I wanted there to be more Sam Raimi in my Sam Raimi movie.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. I was so mad that all we really got was that bone cracking scene, and then there's his editing style where there's when Wong is like retelling the story about the Scarlet Witch and the multiverse or whatever, it does the Sam Raimi like fade out a shot into another shot, but it focuses on like a character's face, and then that was it.
Oh, I know the biggest bait and switch. Loki. When we signed on for a show about Loki, and we got girl Loki, who is a better Loki than our Loki.
So here's the problem. I don't agree with that being a bait and switch. I think it is a character being underserved in his own series. But to me, like a true bait and switch, and I'm even going to say one that worked out for me, is like Metal Gear Solid 2, where they go, you are playing as Snake. Here's the first level where you were Solid Snake. And then as soon as you pass that level, no more Snake, period. It is a Raiden game. You never get control of Snake ever again. All of these shows and movies, while they underserve their characters are still there. You're getting a Doctor Strange adventure. You're getting a Thor adventure. Are they good? No, but that a bait and switch does not mean, like something being bad.
I can follow you.
A bait and switch.
I can follow you on that, but so by the logic that you're giving, I would say probably the worst instance that we've seen, if we're including games in this, is The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. That's a perfect one, Marvin.
That was actually what I was thinking of.
That was what you were thinking. Where we went as far as to show Joel in the trailer in scenes that he never appears in.
Yes, exactly. That I would say that's a really big bait and switch.
I mean, that was just out and out lying. They constructed scenes,
right,
of Joel that never happened.
And to reinforce that point, Marvin, there are probably people in the chat going, oh, but there are lots of times when you see a movie or a game trailer and something changes and that scene gets cut. True. We see that all the time. The problem is this is Naughty Dog. They start with story. By the time they get to the point where you see that playable build, all of that stuff is locked down. They knew what was happening to Joel at that point. There was no, 0 hour Kathleen Kennedy, but what if he gets golf clubbed? It was like, we're starting off this game and he's dying.
Yeah, it was. I remember just sitting there like, I can't believe this is happening right now. And then they make you play. Then they make you play as Abby for the entire second half of the game.
They do, and that's what I hate is not only do they make you play as Abby, but then they also do the thing that a lot of deep video games do, which is they present you with a choice, but it's not really a choice. You have to fight Abby, you have to kill the dogs or whatever, and it's don't you feel bad for doing that? And it's well, there's no way to progress the game. What else was I supposed to? You made me do that. I didn't choose to kill this dog. You made it, so I had to do that to move forward. That's not me make my morality. That's me engaging with your crappy product.
And I don't hate Abby's story in that game. I actually kind of like it. I never forgave her for killing Joel.
And that's the problem is you have a good if you stripped away everything to its base on paper, yes, the story of a girl who was on the other side of a revenge plot, how does she interact with that world? What are her feelings towards the other girl who she doesn't know was in just as much of a desperate spot as she was? That's very interesting. But then it's once you go, and how are we going to show how sympathetic she is? By making sure we show how terrible all the old characters were. Yeah, remember Ellie? She sucks. Joel, he's a jackass. Joel's brother, he's just going to lie to everybody all the time. Yeah, you go, Abby. See, Abby is vindicated. And it's you just wrote it that way. Go away.
Yeah. So we're looking here at Wesley Snipes, and now so I actually have a contact within Marvel who told me long before this was announced that this was going to happen, and he told me recently that and again, this is a rumor, guys, because it's a third party source that I have. I was told that Marvel is currently very aggressively trying to work out something with Wesley Snipes for Secret War and potentially an Old Man Blade movie, and that the rebooted Blade, whether it's Mahershala Ali or not, will not take place until post Secret War when they do the soft reboot that we all know is coming.
No, ouch.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Well, because the other, you know what else he told me? But apparently what the soft reboot is being called internally at Marvel, and I really hope it never sees the light of day.
Please don't they're calling it all different MCU.
No, the Marvel Ultimate Cinematic Universe.
Muku.
I don't even want to. I'm quitting bounding today. I'm not showing up on any more streams. I'm just done. I felt my soul just leave my body.
You know what? If that's just a thing that they're calling it internally, that's fine, as long as that never makes it onto any market.
Right. Yeah, if that's the code
it absolutely
name,
will.
I'm with you, Trish. That's 100% what's coming.
Marvel Morales Cinematic Universe.
Well, if there's one thing that we know, Martin, it's that Marvel Morales is Marvel Morales. Oh God, guys. All right. So I'm trying to see if we've got anything else. It's kind of a slow news week. We've done James Mangold. Oh, there was one thing that hold on, let me pull it up. Oh, here's one. Elon Musk apparently wants to get into the gaming business. Did you see that?
Dumb.
That's
You don't think
shocking,
down?
though. I mean, doesn't he love
do you,
games?
Well, do you really think that Elon would like interfere, or do you think he'd just fund creatives?
I think the entire idea is stupid, because here's the thing. A lot of us got into our channels and into this fight because we wanted politics out of our games. I don't want to get rid of neoliberal politics just to replace it with this idiot's politics, right? I'm sorry. Elon is a giant moron. He has nothing going for him. And so all of this is just, do you like me? Gamers rise up. Okay, what are you going to do with that, Elon? Are you going to fund things? Are you going to make a gamer political party, which sounds like an awful, stupid idea? He doesn't know.
Do you think that's what he'd do, or do you think he'd want to just create apolitical games?
Elon, when you
he doesn't want to make apolitical. He doesn't care about this, Martin or Marvin. He doesn't care about video games. He sees something that he can comment on, and that all the 5 billion of his like rabid followers will agree with, and just says, "Oh yeah, look." Like that's why do you think that's all he says? He retweets something crazy, wild. There's no insight there because he doesn't know. He's just going off of how to fulfill my culture war angle.
Well, it's Elon. He has particular axe to grind because of certain things that happened in his life. / he became a target. He just happens to have enough money to be like, all right, come at me, bro. You know,
right.
much to the ire of Bob Iger, who poked the bear he had no business poking. Listen, if he wants, I think he's just doing it because he can. I don't at any point in time foresee him saying, I'm going to sit down on the boards and we're going to make a bunch of games. He'll pay people.
He doesn't even do that for his current companies. So
he'll pay someone to run the company. But you know, if it needs that, you'll have a little more even-handed approach to gaming, like how we have grown accustomed to, versus over the last batch of years, and fine, whatever.
But here's the problem, Kevin. That's not what's going to happen. He's not an apolitical actor. He's thrown in with the Republic or with like the MAGA side of the GOP. He's a full-on Trump supporter. He's anti-woke. There's nothing here that is apolitical. It's, you know, we got into this. You just said right there, like he's got some axes to grind, and he has the money to do it. Well, we've always talked about how all the writers of the games and comic books now are in arrested development because they got bullied in high school or something happened in high school, and now they're destroying all of this just to get back at them. That's what Elon's going to do from the exact opposite side, and I don't want that. That's not what I want for my hobbies. I want everybody to have an even playing field where you can express your ideas and not go, yeah, here's my political win. Here's my political win. So
but don't you also think, Spencer, that maybe we
need it? I don't want it.
Maybe don't you also think that maybe we need an infusion of money from the other side, because BlackRock is always going to be an issue when it comes to game funding. So maybe if somebody
here's the problem, Marvin. He's not an anti-BlackRock crusader. Elon is right up there shaking hands with all of these elites. He's in these circles. He has all of those photos where he's hanging out with all of the, you know, tech geniuses, the Fortune 500 companies. He's not the people's champion that he tries to present himself as. I'm not
Spencer,
buying into that. That's not going to happen.
I agree with that, but I don't see him as actually buying into, to the extent it actually exists, the MAGA movement, because he's kind of a 90s leftist centrist.
Yeah.
Except he positioned himself as that at first, but after the last few months, you can't deny that anymore. He has abandoned any pretense of, I'm just a guy who wants to get things back to sanity, and going, Donald Trump is the only way to save our country. Everything is woke. Everybody is censoring me. Everybody hates. He's gone off the deep end because at the very core of Elon Musk is he wants to be liked. He wants people to think he's so cool. So right now with Twitter, the biggest user base there are right-leaning or libertarian.
I don't know how that is. Because I'm constantly seeing people that annoy the ever-loving crap out of me on Twitter. And I was actually going to use Twitter to rebut you and say Twitter would look a lot different than the Twitter I see every day if he really was about silencing something and not leaving it even-handed.
But the problem is he doesn't leave it even-handed. He
absolutely
says,
does.
No, he
doesn't. On this
Chris,
one, I see way more of the stuff I don't agree with than the stuff I do, which is the stuff you're saying.
So one thing to that is that yes, your feeds will always throw in a bunch of controversial stuff from whatever creator gets a lot of play at that moment, and whether that's going to be somebody who's saying something you agree with or disagree with, that's going to vary.
I'm going to fight you on this one. I'm going to fight you on
but
this
hold
one.
on, Trish. I'm not done. I'm not done.
Views.
Hold on. I'm not done yet.
Where I come in, Crossfire.
Where I come in on Elon Musk is that when Elon Musk says, I want a free speech platform, I want everybody equal, and then he starts censoring and shutting down accounts that post information about him, start saying things that don't agree with him.
I see
that's
so
not
many
even
that criticize him. I see so many that
I'm not saying people don't criticize him. I'm not saying that, but there have been very big instances where people go, look at this thing that Elon did. Like this is like, I remember one of the biggest ones I remember was when people put together that Elon has an alt account that has he's like one of those Roman statue alt accounts. He has one, and people put it together, and the guy who put it together said like, oh, look, here's all the info. Elon deleted that guy's entire account that hour and he broke no rules. He shared nothing that wasn't already on Twitter, and Elon took him down because he didn't want people to see that. I have
another angle. I have another angle to come at you with then. If everything has been, I guess my left is going to look right on the screen. Here.
Relatable.
Then if he comes in and does exactly what you're saying, that balances everything.
No, I don't. I don't see it as balance. I see it as just inviting in another side who's going to replace what I already hate with another thing I hate in a different color. I hate.
I'm sorry, dude. I think you're slightly biased about this. Just
I'm not.
I just think you're slightly biased about it.
I hate authoritarianism. That's where I don't want authoritarianism. I don't want censorship. I want even playing fields for all. So especially, I take an issue when somebody says, I am a free speech, I am a defender for everybody, and then just does things to boost his own ego. That's not a fair playing field, and I don't want to support anybody who's just going to push that in.
I do think you are neglecting to remember that he has had specifically a giant target put on him by the other person running for president.
I understand.
He has made it very clear that she intends to cripple and humble him.
He's also boosting that himself. That's not Kamala has not come out. Nobody has come out and said we're taking him down.
She made it very clear what she wants to do to him because he had an opinion and he voiced it, which is his right, which is the problem that we have today. And this is specifically a leftist thing. We have been watching this simmer since 2004. These people didn't get their way, and they've made everybody suffer for it. And in 2020,
do you remember when Kyle Rittenhouse just a month ago said that he wasn't
all
right. It's the exact same.
Guys,
everywhere. They reap what they sowed, and they don't like it. They got what they deserve. They found the one person on this planet.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time.
They found enough money to get the person who's not going to roll over for them, and they have a temper tantrum like the petulant children they are.
That's fine. That's fine, and I get that.
We're devolving into politics. We're devolving into politics.
If I may get this off of politics.
That doesn't give Elon the right to.
I know you.
I legit like that one.
But every time you stop me, I'm just going to get worse. I'm the effing juggernaut when I want to make my point.
I know the point that you're making, and I think it's been made. It's just we're devolving into a place where the show's not supposed to go. We're starting to get into partisan politics, and that's not what anyone's here to hear. So, I mean, if you guys want to have the conversation,
you can't be mad when the bear spreads garbage all over your yard.
No, I know, and I probably let it go further than I should have let it go. I should have stepped in earlier, but I don't like it when we get into the left versus right stuff. All I wanted to talk about was video games, but I absolutely understand your point. I think everybody's is making very passionate points. It's just we're getting into a situation where I think we're starting to skirt into topics that go a little outside of our purview.
I don't see him making the e-box because until video games get themselves under control, we're seeing very quickly the only thing that's going to lose more money than Hollywood is video games.
I just wanted to make a joke about BioShock, but Randy and philosophy wasn't ironic.
By the way, I'm also seeing requests. Whenever I see requests for a clip, I'm just like, twist my arm, why don't you? So
Glom gold, glom gold, glom gold, glom gold.
All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, here's an interesting one.
That was so
I'm
perky.
I'm almost hesitant because like it's kind of part of me thinks it's a reach, part of me thinks it's not so much a reach. DC Comics appears to malign Jeremy Griggs, aka DJ Cobra of Geeks and Gamers, by turning him into a Blue Beetle villain. Have you guys seen this?
What?
Yeah, and I don't. I'm just gonna not weigh in because I disagree. But go for it, guys.
I don't know. Like, that's my thing. I don't know if this is. I don't know if it's a reach or if it's something. Because here's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
So in this new Blue Beetle graphic novel, the villain gets radicalized by watching YouTubers. And so essentially, I guess they're saying that this guy looks like Jeremy. I don't see it.
That's it. That is all it is, Marvin. I'm sorry.
It's a white guy in a hat.
Who wrote this one, John? I'm sorry, Trent, but yeah, this is a reach because look, we've had instances in the past where Marvel and DC have used actual like YouTuber like likenesses, like we've seen.
Oh yeah, they use Doomcock.
Jordan Peterson.
Right? Yeah, this isn't called Jordan Peterson, the Red Skull. This is a white guy in a hat on YouTube.
Right, that's exactly it. I read the page, I've read the actual issue. It's a big collage of various people, like angry YouTubers.
Yeah, like what we're seeing right here.
We got a studio deal with a beanie there.
Nobody there is like 100% this is supposed to be you. And you can see things, you can read into it if you want. And I think that they did. So I think they did that on purpose, where they go, here are a bunch of nondescript people with some qualities that don't necessarily apply to them, but people could read into. That way, people who want to see it can see it, and the other people can go, there's nothing there. Because at least for me, I see this page and I go, yeah, it's just pastiches of Tim Pool, of everybody else who they don't like.
The bald is definitely Clavin.
I will say that this one here on the left kind of looks like the what's his name? He's British guy.
Peterson?
No, he's on Friday Night Tights a lot. He's a VTuber.
Hmm.
And it's like him sitting there like with like the cup of tea. That almost kind of looks like him. Yeah, Little Platoon. That kind of looks like Little Platoon, I will say. And I think we can all agree, lower right-hand corner here, guys, that's Culture Casino. Has to be. Period. End. I will accept no argument on that. That's Culture. Can we at least all agree on that Culture Casino has now officially been immortalized in DC Comics as a villain?
How many YouTubers do you think are going in through and picking it out and saying it's them, and they're going to run to their channels and say, I'm being attacked?
I was a little upset that there was no orange monster in there. I was like, man, I got out of my game.
Listen, that's what they wanted to have happen, though. It's you threw a little red meat. You threw a little red meat into the pool. You're going to watch the sharks all act up and give your book free press because, listen, we know that DC is on the balls of its butt, and they need anything and everything from anywhere, wherever they can get it. It is. I can't think of anything colder than DC than other than the joke I always make that gets you so upset about it.
Yes, I understand.
Hey, Chris, let's see if this wood'll float. All right.
You know what? How about a nice human interest story? How about that? You think
if it doesn't involve Oda Mayo, I don't care.
It doesn't.
Yeah, if it's not Bo or Simu, I don't think that we got anything here.
Well, would you guys accept a manatee named Inigo?
Yes. Oh, I'm about this.
Yeah,
Indigo
Montoya. So Epcot has had two manatees for forever. One of them was named Liu, and he was a boat. He was a boat. Like a boat had attacked him up, basically. Like his tail was mostly gone. Liu has been relocated to a facility. Now, I asked, Liu has been relocated to a facility in Sarasota, and I asked the cast member if she meant the big Sarasota in the sky, and she said no, he is alive and well. But we now have Inigo, a new manatee who lives here. And Inigo's backstory was interesting. So the first time the manatee was suffering from seizures, was found rescued and treated. Finding no underlying issues, he was returned to the wild to live out his days in peace. However, soon after he was struck by a boat and needed to be taken in once more to receive care. Once Inigo was healthy enough to survive in his natural habitat, researchers once more returned him to the wild. Then shortly thereafter, he beached himself, and it was determined that he's unable to sustain himself in the wild anymore. He was then
Never
taken
mind. I
into
want to
human
go
care
away.
once
This story sucks. This story hurts.
No, but now he's fine.
Happy ending, yeah.
But I can't make it through this part. I can't make it to the end.
But here's my thing, guys. Is this a lazy manatee who understands that if he continues to hurt himself, he will go back to the place where he gets 150 pounds of romaine lettuce a day?
That just makes me like him more.
Is this a
that's
layabout
clever sea
manatee
cow.
looking for a handout?
It's a clever sea cow.
This is a
Mark
perfectly
Kondraki, what do you
capable-
think?
It's a perfectly capable grandpa just trying to get put back into the home so that he can hang with the ladies and get pudding.
Exactly. Exactly.
Was this manatee born at the beginning of the trophy generation? I think that's what's happening here.
This is a Gen Z manatee. It does not want to
Participation
work.
A Gen Z manatee would still be like 90 years old.
These manatees lived a life, man. They just float around in there, and these cast rooms literally all day throw them heads of romaine lettuce. They eat 150
Gotta give 'em
pounds
the
of
right
romaine
family
lettuce
guy.
a day.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah,
It's just one big salad buffet. It's just with the
It's
life
actually-
they want to live.
Wasn't
It's
this
actually
the
really
sweet
cute.
spot of Finding Dory?
Did one of them go there because they wanted to be there? Was
Yeah,
it
didn't one
was
of
it the
them not want to
octopus?
leave the aquarium?
Yeah, the
Like, why would I-
Al Bundy
why would I-
octopus.
Oh, Ed O'Neill's octopus, right? The school-
Yeah, why would I want to go to the ocean? Sucks out there.
I'm about to make a reference that possibly only Kevin will get. But I remember this very specific segment on the show, Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist,
Okay.
where a guy was giving about how he has this dream. And I forget the details of the dream, but it's like a talk show kind of thing. And he starts talking about manatees, and the entire audience just keeps shouting sea cow at him. So it'd be like, manatee, sea cow, manatee, sea cow. And so every time I hear the word manatee, I always shout sea cow about it, because it's like, you know when something just leaves an impression on you and you have no idea why? That's that segment for me. I don't remember anything else about that show, but I remember manatee, sea cow from that show. And by the look on Kevin's face, he did know what I was talking about.
By the way, here's the thing, though. The ocean sucks. The ocean sucks. It must be the worst. It must be the worst place in the world to live. Because just this giant toilet where everything is trying to kill you. Anything that is even slightly larger than you is trying to kill you.
Have you seen
and-
photos of like
larger,
the
man.
deep ocean?
Oh, good. It's a nightmare. There's monsters under there. It's all just nothing but monsters. I don't go near the ocean. I don't like it.
Dark monsters.
They don't come on land. I don't go to their area either. I'll only do it in like the Bahamas or something like that. But yeah,
Also, to be fair, you grew up with like New Jersey beaches where they have their own like Godzilla ecosystem down there.
well, yes. I mean, like
Hypodermic needles and dead bodies and used prophylactic.
when I was a kid, I never wanted to go anywhere near the ocean because I saw Jaws and I decided to take it as a cautionary tale. And I was not going to end up like that Kittner boy. It was not going to be me. And my father was always, there's no sharks in the ocean. And then one day we went to the beach and it was closed down. And I was like, why? There's a purple flag up. I said, what's the purple flag? And somebody goes, oh, there's a shark in the area. And I turned to my father and I pointed at him. And I was like, I told you. And I felt vindicated on that day.
I was always fascinated by people who were scared of Jaws at the community pool.
That was my irrational fear. I had a nightmare when I was a kid that I was at the community pool and I jumped in the water and like turned and looked and there were 2 killer whales in the water with me. And I've had an irrational fear of all of that ever since.
You
that's just
work
big
on a set of Jaws. Good for you.
Because they're the scary thing. Okay, they are the scary thing. They're entirely too smart. They're entirely too strong. They're entirely too fast. They are the perfect. They are the world's most perfect killing machine.
Whales. They convince us all that they're nice, cute whales. They're not even technically.
Oh, yeah. That's what they want us to think. That's how they hunt us.
Those roving gangs of dolphins.
How they hunt us.
And you know what? And everyone always says to me, they're like, Marv, you can't be afraid of killer whales. Killer whales in the wild have never killed a human. I said, no, they just don't leave survivors to tell the tale.
I'm gonna say that. Yes, Marvin.
It's in the name, killer whale. I would avoid that thing like the plague.
We don't call them huggy whales.
You know, down in the southeastern United States, they have the bull shark that can swim for extended periods in fresh water.
That's terrifying. That is terrifying.
Nope.
Now, one thing, if you're if you're in Central Florida during the winter months, one of the things that I love is I go to Blue Spring State Park, because the manatees will, when it gets colder in the winter months and the ocean water temperature drops, the manatees instinctively swim out of the ocean into the natural springs of Central Florida, because the water there is temperate. It's always at the same exact temperature. And when you go to like one of those state parks with the springs in them, literally hundreds of manatees just out there in front of you. It's unbelievable. Babies,
they also like to run off
ones.
from power plants because it's warm.
Yeah.
The manatees like the water that's being used in power plants, because when it leaves the plant, it's still warm.
Now they've got radioactive spider powers.
Radioactive manatee man. Oh, manatee man would be the worst superhero. What powers would manatee man even have?
Just laying around, sunning your belly.
Yeah. It's the arch nemesis would be like the boatsman. To be this guy in like a captain's uniform.
I'm gonna hit your head with my propellers.
Goodness. Yeah, no, thank you. Can you tell like we're running out of stuff to talk about this?
Yeah.
I am grateful though you wrote this article. We need some good wholesome news like this. This story,
you know what,
makes me happy.
No, when I was in Epcot and I saw the new manatee, and I knew that they had gotten rid of Lou, and so I just started asking the cast member up there questions, and nobody else's article had anything about the backstory for Inigo, because Inigo, like up on there, it says like for little Joe, who's the other manatee there, it says orphaned. So for Inigo, there was no backstory. So I just asked the cast member, and they told me the whole story. And I was like, wow, that's like a really interesting story. I mean, like, nobody's telling it. And yeah, they also just got rid of all the dolphins at the Seas Pavilion. Which
Tyra
I don't know.
Tyra Banks is afraid of dolphins. There's a random fact for you.
You know what?
Fair.
She's right
That's
to be.
fair. I've seen the
She's
King
right
of the
to be
Hill
afraid of them.
with dolphins.
I forget what
y'all seen that Simpsons episode?
There we go,
Guys,
Nolan.
Dolphins do not have the best intentions when they come over to try and play with you. Typically, if they play with you, you're the toy. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know.
Sorry.
You just don't. Just
looking like a Riley Reid video in the water.
Nolan.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna have to assume that's funny because I don't know what that means.
Just keep going. Keep going.
Yep, don't Google it.
Do not Google it under any circumstances.
We got a couple of super chats here. Alejandro Melendez says the Ray movie will drop after Rian Johnson's trilogy does. Yes, in the world of nobody in the world, in like the big giant room of all the discarded projects, Rian Johnson's trilogy sits on a throne. It is the ultimate Star Wars failed project. Taking away the picture of the manatee. Ryan Matheson for $1.99 says always bet on black. Snipes as Blade before Ridley as Ray.
Snipes, maybe.
Oh yeah, I can believe that.
Not Mahershala Ali though.
Go and show man Blade.
Go and Shogi for $1.99. Throwing a little shade at our friend Spencer, saying the YouTuber calling the space pioneer stupid. But
first of all, I'm not a YouTuber. Second of all, he's not a space pioneer. He hasn't done anything but give him money. So next.
Yes, you're like Mexican Iron Man. You're not a YouTuber. You're also not Mexican.
I'm not a YouTuber.
You're Asian Iron Man. There it is. All right, Go and Shogi also gifted
And it's
one
on
a
Avenger.
Tooney Town TV membership. Thank you very much, guys. Turning that chat green in preparation for our launch of unnamed true crime podcast / crime and punishment question mark.
I think it might have a name now. That intro is going to seem a little odd now.
Well, no, there are two versions of the intro.
Okay,
And
so you can
Spencer is allowed to have his opinions on Elon.
Yes, of course he is. Of course he is. Everyone is allowed to have their opinions on anyone and anything.
okay.
That is what makes this world. And we are all allowed to disagree. And just because we raise our voices every once in a while, mostly because we're all talking over each other.
I'm completely fine right now.
This group has become a family in the last couple of months. Like we hang out after the
don't
show.
beat each other until they're out of view.
Exactly. Once we're out, if we have a film of the post show, my goodness.
Oh my god!
And
bear in mind, I once paid money to Super Chat to pick up for Spencer when everybody was attacking him on that
You
Park
did.
Place.
It made me warm and fuzzy. I have a screenshot of it.
Do you really have a screenshot of it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I do something like that. I would take a screenshot.
I screenshot whenever awesome like super chats come in from whatever shows I'm on. I think I have like one or two when I wasn't even on the panel yet of Tooney Town that I'm like, this is a good one. This is hilarious.
Luke Kaufelt for $5 says they call each other way worse things. They're all laughing at DC and we'll move on after the next Friday Night Tights. Yeah, all they did was just give like, but you know what? Jeremy like hasn't really like responded to that because I don't think Jeremy thinks it's him either. He's retweeted a few people, but
and
that's
you know what? This is sort of I don't know. This kind of grinds up against like the political territory, and I'm not trying to go in there, but I have noticed that like Jeremy's really been putting a lot more attention to his like what is it, the Cobra Cast, the political one, and so that might also be a thing too. It might have just gone under his radar because he's busy.
Yeah, that's also true. And I've met Jeremy in person. Really nice guy, taller than you'd think.
Well, and how many YouTubers are dudes with ball caps?
Yeah.
I think it's the vast majority of them. I know like 5.
Like somebody in one of your chatters, I forget who it was right now at the top of my head, but they were like, that beanie is Tim Pool. And I'm like, yeah, I can get the beanie one because there is really only one person you think of with a beanie. But yeah, baseball cap.
Well, and like
everybody.
And like on She-Hulk, that was definitely Doomcock.
Oh, that was 9. Yeah, there's no way that was anybody but Doomcock.
Yeah, which I mean,
as someone who has no idea what that means.
Yes, it's in that dolphin video actually.
No.
He's a YouTuber and a scooper, and his gimmick is that he's like a Dr. Doom type guy. He's Victor Von Doom. He's Victor Von Doomcock, and he does like a whole he does like the anti-woke thing, but he does it in a character. And he wears like a very specific like looking mask, and the villains in She-Hulk were wearing basically that mask.
Oh, okay. It's just Doomcock. It's not, out of context. It's an odd thing to hear.
Yeah. No. He was one of the first ones that I found when I first started going down the rabbit hole of our YouTube space. But yeah. It was him and Pro and Nerdrotic and the Drinker were the first ones that I found, and then I moved on from there to Az and Geeks and Gamers and just a lot of cool people in our community, and I've had the pleasure of meeting most of them. So and I have not had a bad experience yet. Knock on wood.
I nurse a pet theory that Overlord DVD, because I'm not going to say the name, is actually a sock account for not Bob Iger, but Bob Chapek.
Oh, I was gonna say
I've had more than one person ask me if Pro is Doomcock, and I'm like, no, they've been on streams together.
Yeah, he's definitely Pro is Josh.
That would be
D'Amaro.
impressive.
We all know that.
Yes, it's actually Josh D'Amaro playing both sides against each other. I mean, by the way. So I was at Disney for Mrs. Movie Monster's birthday, and so we're staying at the Disney Resort, and I turn on the TV. And the first thing I see is Josh D'Amaro, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Josh. Welcome to your Disney vacation." And I was like, "Oh, nope, next." And so they have a function on the TV that allows you to connect your device directly to the resort TV, and then you can like play your streaming services on there. So we're doing it, and I'm literally playing Disney Plus, the one that it should play the easiest. Of course, it doesn't work. It keeps kicking me off, and every time it kicks me off, it starts like the whole thing over again.
The whole pre thing again.
And so every time it kicks me off and I'm already agitated that I'm now kicked off and I'm not watching DuckTales anymore, I'm just saying, hi, I'm Josh. And I'm like, this is your fault.
That's the kind of thing where, like,
this stupid, glistening Eric Bischoff smile.
Like, do you guys remember when we were all younger and you would put on like a DVD to go to sleep and it would eventually end? So you'd wake up at like 5 a.m. in a daze and it's just like the menu going over and over and over and over again. And like, that's what this reminds me of, but somehow worse.
I definitely didn't fall asleep to a DVD.
It was a VHS tape for me.
That one, yeah.
It was a VHS
sorry.
tape.
Sorry, I was on the cutting edge of tech, and as soon as I could afford one DVD, that's all I watched for the rest of my life.
This is more of a year issue thing than anything.
I fell asleep when I was a kid. I would fall asleep to the VHS. I had a VHS of the Back to the Future trilogy, like one after the other after the other, and I would just play that as I fell asleep.
On one tape,
some kind of noise. Yeah. So because of that, the movies ingrained themselves into my brain as I slept. And today I can just, when you watch Back to the Future with me, I can quote every single line because it just seeped into my brain, into my unconscious brain.
I was afraid you were going to say, now every time I watch Back to the Future, it's like something miles per hour. Like you just fall asleep, like you have narcolepsy during it.
No, if anything, and then after that, I would fall asleep to ESPN because I didn't care about anything happening on it. So like, it was literally just noise to me. Oh man. All right. So John J8999 asking us any news at all on Percy Jackson's season 2 progress? Not that I've heard. I have not heard. I'm keeping an eye out though, John. I got a Google alert set for that so that when news drops on that, we can get it for you. And Jamie Earhart,
another character.
Jamie Earhart for $5 Canadian. You went to Disney to watch DuckTales? Money well spent, sir. No, so it was the end of the night. It was like we were back and we were relaxing, and we were watching TV. And I was like, I don't want to watch any of the things that's on TV. So
like a caveman.
Yeah, we were watching. We just finished DuckTales. Actually, we finished the entire thing, and now we're both like really, really sad about it.
Oh, that's the worst when you reach the end of something and you're really enjoying it.
I didn't want to say goodbye. I loved these characters so much. But so they were playing they do this thing at Disney resorts now where they do like movies under the stars, and they have the big inflatable movie screen, and they play the movies outside, and you can sit on the grass and watch them. So they're doing this literally like right outside a hotel room, so I can hear Brother Bear while I'm trying to watch other things, which at first I'm not happy about.
Somebody,
I don't know. And then
all the movies.
Yeah. So, but then the second day they were playing Hocus Pocus, and I was like, let's go out for a minute and like actually sit down and watch. So we sat down. They had blankets set up, so we sat on a blanket. We watched like the beginning of Hocus Pocus. Finally, I'm like, I feel like bugs starting to bite me, and I'm like, all right, let's go back inside. We go inside. Mrs. Movie Monster is covered in bug bites. Like,
oh my god.
Like and she's like allergic to them, so they're like swelled up. And like we're getting married in like a little over a week, but thankfully they seem to be going away. So crisis averted there.
Oh, this was like really recent.
This was last weekend. No, this was last weekend.
Yikes.
So it was nuts.
I'm glad she didn't get bit during Brother Bear and like the wedding isn't closer, because then you would forever have Brother Bear as a part of your wedding, and awful.
We didn't watch Brother Bear.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad it didn't go that way.
But
that would have been
the Joker
traumatic.
prequel.
The Joker prequel. My goodness.
It's got Joaquin.
Speaking of, you know what? I can say that for next week. I'm about tapped out.
What's the?
I thought about it for a second, and I was like,
probably.
Probably not worth it. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for tonight. A big thank you to all of our new members who joined tonight, everybody who super chatted, everyone who donated a membership. A lot of generosity going on here. Remember, if you were gifted a membership at the end of the month, you will have to physically re-up your membership, because they don't automatically re-up because they were a gift. So if you decide that you want to stick around, you want to see more more exclusive content, including our members only live chat, which we'll be doing tomorrow at 2 p.m. come hell or high water. Then stick around with us, hang out, see more of what we've got to offer. And let's outro. Spencer Piccoli, where can folks find out more about you?
You can catch me over on boundingintocomics.com every day where we're dropping new news stories. You can also catch me on my own YouTube channel, Studio Kabuto. You can catch me with Marvin over on That Game Place, although I don't know what day I'm supposed to boost anymore because that's kind of in the air right now. And then, of course, just follow everybody here. Come back for Tooney Town Thursdays. That's where I'm at. I'm here.
At 10:30 at night, usually.
Yeah.
Oh.
I still make it.
Yeah. This is actually usually around the time when you roll in.
I know, when I show up.
Yeah.
It's fine. I know that when I show up, all I'm going to get is the cold onion rings, and that's fine. That's fine.
It doesn't sound very fine, Spencer. And if you wanted hot onion rings, you show up before 10:30. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
I've
Nolan
been put on
Thunder,
the
where can
spot.
folks find out more about what you are up to?
Okay, so a lot of my stuff is under wraps, so this is actually going to be really hard right now. So instead, I am just going to plug some of the crap I already have. If you like video game mysteries or internet mysteries in general, you can check me out with my series called Lost in the Files. It's over on the Nolan Thunder YouTube channel. It's kind of like Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction with Jonathan Frakes, but with like video games. It's cool. It's got a lot of urban legends, cool 80s synthesizer music. It's fun. We dive into mysteries. If you want an episode to check out, there is a one where we talk about an obscure discovery found in the Korean version of a Mario game that somehow held another game in it, and it was about cats. It's very bizarre, and it's got a lot of horror-esque things in it and some comedy. So if you like that sort of spiel and little documentary elements, I recommend checking it out.
Awesome. Excellent, Owen. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Martin Stone, where can people find more about you and whatever you're up to?
Well, you can follow me on X, but also I do a show on That Park Place. It's a member exclusive with Nolan Thunder and Hangry Table. It's called The Lost Guys. And we've been kicking around some ideas for some things we haven't done before. We think we're going to try to do, and I'd like the audience to let us know what they think, an episode about a music video so bad that it ruined a platinum recording artist's career.
Billy Squire.
Billy Squire.
Milli Vanilli.
Poor Billy Squire, man. Like,
I know.
honestly, he's got a lot of good songs,
Yeah.
and he was like doing, and then that one video, like, who made the treatment for that video?
Well, the guy who would later go on to direct at least one of the High School Musical movies directed that music video.
Really?
That's a fun little fact.
Just a little tidbit for you. More of that if you subscribe to That Park Place and watch The Lost Guys.
Super cool.
Do it.
by the way,
The Billy
Jamie
Squire
Earhart-
thing sounds good. Do it.
Jamie Earhart checking in for $5 Canadian. Already subscribed my gifted membership for your top tier. Oh, wow. I think you might be the first Tooney Town Council member, Jamie. And so, Jamie, if that is the case, then I will be posting a link that because every part of that is you can join the panel on our members only live stream. So tomorrow around 2:00, check the community board because I'll be posting a link for Tooney Town Council members to join the live to join the panel for our live chat. So all right. And Trish, you got anything debuting tonight?
I do, as a matter of fact. The probably named Crime and Punishment episode 1, which is even more aptly timed given recent news today. But yep, Menendez murders, and I hope you guys like it. And I am that stereotype, and I never thought I'd be doing something like this, so it's kind of really neat for me. So I hope you all watch it and enjoy it, and that's it.
I'm honestly proud of the episode we put together. I think it's a really solid hour.
I'm proud of us.
I did.
Like, no, when we finished that, I was just like, man, this was fun. It was good. Like, I'm excited to do the next one because the Menendez is like, yes, it's a brutal murder, and there's a lot of like, but it's a lot of legal drama. This one that we're doing next week, I said to Trish, I said, you need to find me a monster for next week. Not
Don't worry, I got you.
Like, yeah,
an actual like monster.
Yeah, like an actual like psychopath. Kevin Apollo, what do you got going on, my friend?
I got a bunch of stuff going on. Got a show tomorrow. Fighter Fright 2 Halloween themed event. I'm currently in the middle of responding to some super annoying emails about that. Because indie wrestlers are just special creatures. That'll be fun. It's a fundraiser for the Haverstraw Center, and then the next weekend, November 2nd, will be actually our 6th-year anniversary for ACW, November Rain. And that'll also be that one is also a fundraiser for the Haverstraw Center. Doing 2 in a row because what they do during the Christmas season is they actually buy gifts for all the kids in the program. They have a little over 100. So they buy gifts for the kids in their program and some of their siblings too. And these are all kids who live at or below the poverty line. So I like to try to do as much as I can to make sure the Littlands have a nice Christmas.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And folks, check out Tooneytown Wrestling if you got a chance. Over on Tuesday nights, we're doing Tooney Talk Wrestling. I'll still be here next week. The week after, Kevin Apollo will be running the show, so that will be the Kevin Apollo special episode. And then at the end of November, the day after Thanksgiving for Black Friday, we're actually doing a special episode. It is going to be the Trish birthday party extravaganza.
Hey, how come I don't have a birthday party extravaganza?
You didn't tell me when your birthday was. If it was on the night of.
Oh yeah, yours would be. Well, yours would be a Friday too. Yours would be a Friday too.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know when I don't know when anyone's birthday is unless they tell me.
That's what Facebook is for.
You literally have to tell me every year.
The only honestly, the only reason it came up was because I questioned about how Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, and I was like, well, we're obviously not doing it on Thanksgiving.
Yes, yes, and of course, by the way, guys, we also have a Discord server. Come join the conversation over there. John posted the link over there, and thank you to John for being our mod here tonight, for talking about sharing a bunch of links and for being a great supporter of the show. We really appreciate you, man. All right, well, and so we'll be doing the Trish birthday bash on that day, and that should be fun. We'll have some like party games and stuff like that. We'll figure out.
God.
Pin the tail on Bo DeMaio.
Oh my God,
Spencer, I need 2 modern titles to read.
I've got you. Don't worry.
All right.
There's good stuff. I got you, Kevin. I've always got you.
All right, guys. From all of us here at Tooneytown Wrestling, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!
Now, Betty the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator!
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing.
Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what? Hi-ho, from all of us here at Tooneytown, thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.